in an accident, you need a lawyer. And you deserve an advocate. Because every accident has a ripple effect. It affects your time, your health, your ability to make money, everything. That's where the advocates can help. Speaking with an attorney is simple and 100% free. We're available 24/7 for your convenience, and we'll take on the claims process so you can rest easy. Because you're not just a client to us, you're a person, and you deserve the best help you can get. You deserve an advocate.
This is The Monty Show, the truth in sports talk streaming. When you want unbiased opinions about your favorite team without the spin, all you have to do is find The Monty Show, streaming live and available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week on YouTube. And now, here's Monty.
Hey, The Monty Show, live on your YouTube machine. Did you guys see that? I was voice texting right before the show started.
Yeah.
The accountants and business stuff on The Monty Show, presented by our friends at The Advocates, theadvocates.com. The best injury attorneys in the business, 24/7, 365. You can chat with an injury attorney live online, and it won't cost you a dime. Trust me, your insurance company's not fighting for you when you get in a car accident, when you get hurt at work, when you have a slip and fall, maybe you're riding your bike. Yes, you need the advocates. Let them fight the insurance company. Let you get back to the best version of yourself at theadvocates.com. We have a lot going on today. Stephen A. Smith murdered somebody on television. We will tell you all about that. Is Stephen A. Smith popular? I still can't figure this out. And I know that Stephen A. Smith is one of those guys that's polarizing, but he's got a massive platform at ESPN. Last night, he moderated at a town hall on Fox News. He is in soap operas now. Like, is Stephen A. Smith, do you like, respect? Like, what is...
I mean, I don't like Stephen A. Smith. I think you have to respect what he's built. I mean, the guy went from being... like one of the most prolific writers to now being a prolific on-air personality, doing multiple different genres now. Like, I mean, the guy clearly knows business on some level, so you have to respect him for that. But no, I mean, he would not, this nonsense about him running for president, and it's just more of the same. We have this wave of, where anybody and their mom thinks they can run for president, and it's a good idea. And we're dealing with that now. And I think Stephen A., frankly, has no business running for president. And I think he should stick to doing ESPN. I think he will get himself in trouble doing politics. And, like I said, I don't like the guy, but I think you do have to respect what he's built.
All right, Stephen A. Smith and that whole thing. Wait until you see him murk this nurse on television. He is a terrible actor. I mean, a terrible actor.
What?
Don't forget, we have Knicks and Pistons tonight. Look at that line. Look at that line. The Pistons are favored in Game 6 of the Eastern Conference playoffs against the Knicks tonight. And I don't know where if you're the Knicks, that was a huge loss in game 5.
Right.
Just one that I'm not sure that you can measure. That is a huge loss.
Yeah.
Huge loss. So we'll keep you up to date on that. But right now, the LA Lakers are done. And the question I think that is on everybody's mind is what's next for the LA Lakers? I would tell you they've got to remake this roster. The Luka trade, I think, was absolutely a zero for this team. You're still out in the first round. It's another year where LeBron James isn't going deep into the NBA playoffs. He's not going to win a championship. And you now wonder, when we say what's next, is LeBron retiring? Is LeBron looking at another team? I think there's a bunch of hooey and nonsense being floated out there. My passionate opinion is, as somebody who's covered this league for over 20 years, LeBron James isn't retiring. He's not going out in the first round with hookah by his side. I could absolutely see a scenario where the LA Lakers trade for Giannis Antetokounmpo. They have that threesome together at center court, and you do with that phrase what you will. But you put those three guys on the floor. I think if you're going to trade for Giannis, you're probably giving up Austin Reeves. That'd be the starting conversation for me. If I am the Milwaukee Bucks, that's clearly going to take a third team to get that done because of salaries. All that doesn't matter. You want to make a deal, you can make a deal. I think the LA Lakers go into the marketplace and they go get Giannis Antetokounmpo, who I think is readily available. You would be absolutely insane not to make that phone call if you're the LA Lakers. You put Giannis into an LA uniform, and I think it absolutely transforms him into the most popular player in the NBA, and it gives the Lakers an opportunity to win a championship year in and year out. Because if we weren't learned one thing about Giannis through this first round of the playoffs, he's sick and tired of losing, and it wears on him. He does not hide it well. And who else could I be talking about? None other than LeBron James, who you can very clearly see hates losing and does not hide it. Jake, I think Giannis and LeBron would be a match made in La La Land.
Absolutely. And I think it's going to take that level of move to keep LeBron playing basketball. You know, there's a lot of speculation about, like, you know, where LeBron is at with things, you know, whether LeBron wants to keep playing, you know, what he's got left to prove, you know, that whole thing. And, you know, I empathize with LeBron a little bit in the sense that, you know, this guy's accomplished pretty much everything there is to accomplish in basketball at this point. I mean, at this point, you're basically, the conversation I imagine LeBron's having with himself is, you know, do I still love playing the game? I think he does. You know, how long do I want to continue to be on the off-season grind, the regular season grind, like just on my usual schedule that I've been on for, frankly, 20 years now? You know, how long do I want to go through that? And, you know, I think LeBron probably has, you know, longest, you know, 3 seasons, shortest one season. I think that's the kind of window we're working with, just in my opinion. You know, and I think the Giannis trade, I think, is a really good one. You know, I think, you know, Giannis has shown that he can win. I do think, even though they lost that series, if you watch that series at all, there were stretches where Giannis dominated them. You know, there were stretches where Giannis decided to turn it on and get after them, especially when he was frustrated. You know, and you can see he's still that guy. The problem is that alpha dogs don't like to always have to be the guy carrying the team when they know they have no chance at winning a series. So I think if you put Giannis in a Laker uniform, if you have Bron there, you know, Giannis mitigates what you're lacking in the middle with Jackson Hayes. I think he also helps you push the pace because he's such a dominant force in transition. And I also think it puts you in a place where now there's actually, with all due respect to Luka, there's actually a guy there that can perform night in and night out. Because I think if we've learned anything from Luka in LA, he doesn't perform every night. And I'm not sure that he wants to. And that's the problem. So I still look back on the Luka trade and I say, at the time, I like the deal. But unfortunately, none of us are surprised by Luka's lack of effort defensively. None of us are surprised.
Certainly not.
By the inconsistency. So the question of what would it take to get LeBron James to play another season? Yeah, it's going to take a seismic move. It's going to take a move that says, hey, we're really committed to winning right now with you, man. We want to see you win one more championship before you go out.
I think the biggest problem is you're going to have all kinds of competition. I think Golden State makes a hell of a lot of sense. Heck, I think the Detroit Pistons make a lot of sense for Giannis. I think it's going to be up to Giannis where he wants to go. Because nobody's trading for him unless he wants to be traded to that destination.
I don't think Giannis is going anywhere but a tier 1 market. You've been in Milwaukee.
Why would you?
You've been in Milwaukee your entire career so far. Why would you go to another small city? With all due respect to the Pistons, because I actually think Giannis on the Pistons would be a phenomenal fit.
Oh, I think him and Cade
like
would
a basketball X's
Can you imagine Giannis Antetokounmpo with Cunningham, with Thompson, with you look at that lineup, but can you imagine Steph playing at a minimum 3 more years with Antetokounmpo? Giannis and Steph together would be, and I don't even know, is Jimmy still on that roster in that mix? I don't even know.
Yeah.
But can you imagine those 3 together? That would be absolutely terrorizing for the West. You're better than OKC at that point. Hell, does OKC make that move? Does Giannis want to go to OKC? I personally don't think so. I don't think so. I think Giannis wants to be a Laker. That's my opinion. I think that he's not going to. I hear all this noise about Brooklyn. Giannis isn't going to Brooklyn. The Brooklyn Nets are damaged goods.
Well, and I think the KD experience there with Harden and all that and Kyrie, like, that whole thing, I when you call them damaged goods, I think that's why you're damaged goods, because you as the Brooklyn Nets made this run with Joe Tsai, to spend all this money and bring all this talent in. And again, at the time, I thought it was the right move. I loved the aggressiveness. I love the as I always say when we're talking about sports and philosophy, I love that they were playing offense in that moment. But the reality is, you didn't have the coaching staff, you didn't have the personnel in the organization to make that level of talent work together well. And so, if I'm Giannis Antetokounmpo,
do the Lakers?
Yeah, I mean, I think that the difference is that the Lakers have shown the ability over decades to always have a star. It's kind of more a thing where it's like, whether they do right now or not. I mean, I agree. JJ Redick, the podcaster, is definitely a conversation. Do I want to play for JJ? Did he do a good job? How much of this was on JJ? Versus how much was it the shortcomings of the roster? Because again, this is the other, while we're talking about this, the roster isn't horrific. It's just not good enough to beat a team that's deeper than you.
Let's make this really clear.
Yeah.
The Lakers roster isn't good enough because Luka isn't good enough. And what did I say yesterday? They're going to lose that game, and everybody in Dallas is going to celebrate because now Luka's not your problem anymore in DFW. He's the Lakers' problem, and he's not a guy that you want to hitch your wagon to for the future.
Right.
And I think the single biggest issue will be, how do the Lakers fit 3 max deals under the cap? That's going to be, and is that the formula? Because if we learned anything out of the Phoenix mess,
I don't think it's the formula.
I don't either.
And I'm not so sure that Luka gets the extension with the Lakers.
I don't either.
I think that if you listen to Rob Pelinka, in this clip was asked, hey, heading into the offseason, basically like, what's your philosophy around this roster? And he goes on to say that, LeBron's a GOAT and he has high praise for LeBron, but he also mentions the fact that LeBron's got really high expectations for the roster.
He does come back. Will you approach the roster building this offseason with one specific kind of role in mind for him, or is it more just let's build the best roster possible and then he's willing to do whatever is necessary?
LeBron is a GOAT, one of the GOATs of the game, and he's a completely selfless leader, and I think we saw that in this playoff series, moving to playing more off the ball and committing to the defensive end, and I think it's just a testament to his championship DNA and character, and I think LeBron's going to have high expectations for the roster, and we're going to do everything we can to meet those.
And I'm really curious what the Lakers do, because there was a LeBron bite after the game last night where he talked about that he didn't want to tell the Lakers what to do with the roster because that's why Anthony Davis got traded. And I thought it was a really interesting look into the beliefs that LeBron has about that roster construction. And I think one of the things that's so interesting is there's a chance the Lakers trade Luka this summer.
Mm-hmm. Which I don't think anybody thought was possible when they got him.
That he could be traded twice inside of a 3 to 4 month window, I think is really telling about his abilities.
Well, listen, it's an indictment on Luka. I mean, there's no question about it. I mean, you go from being, the staple of a franchise in Dallas to being a guy who was involved unknowingly, right? No fault to Luka here, but unknowingly involved in a massive trade that happened, in the middle of the night, as most people say. And now, the flack that Nico Harrison took, deserved, but now seems to be a little more palatable. It seems to be a little more, Dallas Maverick fans seem to be a little more open to the idea that, yeah, maybe we should wait and see what, assuming AD is still there, what AD, Kyrie and Clay and this group can do together.
Well, and that's a major injury for Kyrie. Let's not forget about that. Yeah. Which, and I'll go back to the Giannis thing.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you're paying Giannis and Dame $108 million next year. That's not a formula to win a championship. Like it makes sense to tear Milwaukee down now because Giannis is due $54 million.
Well, and think about what this
year.
Milwaukee team is too. I mean, this is hardly the Milwaukee team that won a championship.
No,
I mean,
it is not.
This is this is basically, hey, Chris Middleton's gone, Drew Holiday's gone, and we're patchworking this thing together with Dame and Giannis and some guys, some role players to try to do the best we can. And that's why I say if you're Giannis, and I agree, if you're the Bucks, I mean, you're really going to sit here and you want to pay over $100 million for 2 players just to go out in the first round? I mean,
I don't think so.
That's not Milwaukee. I mean, let's be honest, dude. So I just sit here and I say, like, the reality in the NBA, with all due respect to teams like Milwaukee and Detroit and the secondary market teams, is that their cycle of winning is much shorter than their cycle of losing. That's how it works in the league, right? Like look at OKC. Elongated losing period. Then you have Russ, KD, and Harden on the same team. They did some winning together. That team evaporated. Now you've turned that into SGA and company, right? So like OKC is kind of figuring it out. But I don't think a team like Milwaukee is going to sit here and spend in a town like Milwaukee when ultimately they can be bad, get up in the draft, go that route, send Giannis to LA. Like, it's the pragmatic thing to do. You've won your championship. The window's closing. By the way, as soon as Budenholzer was out of there, I would have looked at tearing it down right there, right? Because ultimately, you lost the guy that won you the championship, right? That you lost that formula of Giannis, Middleton, Drew Holiday, with Budenholzer, that nice magic formula. And that's where I say, ultimately, Giannis to the Lakers makes a ton of sense. And I for sure feel more confident in Giannis and LeBron than I do Luka and LeBron. And it's really disappointing because I wanted Luka to be great. I wanted Luka to commit to being a defensive guy, right? Like, or not even being a defensive guy, but just, holding his own defensively, right? Like not being a liability. And I guess maybe fool me once, fool me twice kind of thing. Maybe I shouldn't have ever expected that out of Luka. But I just thought, hey, you're going to LA. It's LeBron, bright lights. You're going to get exposed if you don't do this. Most people just in their right mind would probably play some more defense than he did. But, I don't know, man. At some point, Luka's going to figure out that you either want to win or you just want to make money and you want to lose. And I feel like he's heading down the make money lose route.
I think it's really tough. And I also think it's going to be very difficult for the Lakers to make this trade as a 2-team deal because they're hard capped. And I think that that's going to be the most difficult thing. But again, if you want to make a deal, you can make a deal. You just have to be
that's what
creative.
You give up. Yeah.
And then the question is, do you believe that LeBron James is retiring?
The fact that you're going to enter into an offseason on a roster that has Luka Doncic, that secured the number 3 seed in the West in a really tough West this year, what type of thoughts does that give you about your end game? And how many more years will we see you play?
I don't know. I don't have the answer to that. Something I'll sit down with my family, my wife, and my support group and kind of just talk through it and see what happens. And then just have a conversation with myself on how long I want to continue to play. I don't know the answer to that right now.
Yeah, I do. You're not retiring right now. I mean, I feel very passionately he is not retiring right now. And I think it is one of those things where I think we're all a little surprised they lost. I thought at least they would extend this series.
Agreed.
And you couldn't do that. And again, I understand that there's a lot of hate for LeBron. He is not nearly the biggest problem they have. I think at times, if for a long stretch of this year, he was the best player in the world again. So I don't think he's the issue. I think the issue is you're hard capped. It is going to be very difficult for you to make moves at this point. And I think if you can't go out and if you can't make a Giannis type seismic move, I think you're gonna really struggle. And I think if you're the Lakers, you are now understanding why they traded Luka Doncic in Dallas. And I think it's not the move that you hope that it would be. And I don't know how you fix it. That's the hardest part of this, is I don't know how you fix it, because the shock of losing so easily to Minnesota is not going to wear off for a week or so. Rob Pelinka's already back at work trying to make deals now.
Yeah.
And I think that's the biggest thing. They have draft picks they can trade. I think they have their 2026 that they can move.
Mm-hmm.
They can pick swap that. But you don't have the same assets that an Atlanta has. You're pretty close with Golden State, right? But it's simply a matter of, where does Giannis want to go, and is that enough to get LeBron to relight the fire and be passionate about it? And I think it is.
And I think for Rob Pelinka, you're because of their situation, as you were just saying, you have to do deals that get you what you want, but also at the same time benefit multiple teams. And I think that's the magic of Rob Pelinka, and why, in my opinion, he's one of the best executives we have in the league operating. Because, just the moment you say, nope, no more options for Rob, no more picks, no more options, can't do deals, that's when I feel like he goes to work and he's on the phone, and all of a sudden we get a 3 or 4 team deal that involves draft picks, and someone's getting better, and the Lakers are getting the top dog in the deal. And so that's why I say, you should never count out Rob Pelinka. You should never say, even no matter how dire it looks, the reality is dude can get on the phone, he can sell the hell out of what he has to offer, and he can frankly manipulate people into getting what he wants. So again, I think the task for Rob with this roster is not even the depths of this roster yet. You have to find a way to create a core twosome with Bron and one other player like a Giannis or whoever else they may target, that allows that second player, the player you're going to acquire, to thrive and to be the guy in tandem with Bron. Because the thing I really like about Bron's game right now is he's no longer the I'm just going to take over the game guy. Not this postseason. He wasn't that guy. Maybe, like you said, maybe a deal re-energizes him. He finds the fountain of youth for one more postseason and they go on a crazy run. I could totally see that happening. But the reality is, the thing I like about it is the guy can still pass out of his mind. He can still run the offense. His mind is as sharp as it's ever been.
Yeah. So
I have no doubt that if you have, if you got a secondary player running point, Bron's coming up the wing, and you've got a Giannis, who a hybrid, 3 through 5 kind of guy that can really play the game, you can still win with LeBron James. So I have no doubt that going out and getting Giannis is a great move. It's just a matter of what you're going to have to give up, because I agree, there's no doubt Austin Reeves is going to be in that deal. No question that you're going to have to give him up.
Have to. And I think the most difficult part of this, is that you don't have a way, in my opinion, you don't have a way to make an easy trade work. And I think that if you are able to, and again, this is just my opinion, but if you are able to figure out a way to make this trade work, then you can start having conversations about, and I guess what's the right way to say, you can start having conversations about how you fill in the bottom of the roster.
Yes.
But if the Jazz, who are said to be open to moving Lauri Markkanen, if the Jazz find a way to what's the right way to say it? If the Jazz find a way to get involved with a Lauri Markkanen deal, or that to me makes more sense than trying to figure out ways to make this a 1v1 trade. And I think Lauri Markkanen's contract will be moved this summer. I have almost no doubt about that, because the owner of the Jazz is not going to keep spending money. And I think when you look at John Collins, Lauri Markkanen, and Colin Sexton, I think those are probably your top 3 trade chips on that roster.
I mean, the question is really, and I don't disagree about Markkanen being available. But the question really is when you look at like the Lakers and teams that they would need to help them do deals, the Jazz are clearly one of those teams, and they've proven to be one of those teams through multiple deals at this point. It's undisputed, right? You've seen it play out. It's not an opinion. We've seen it. So the question really is, at what point does Utah get into a place where they're actually open for business? Because what they've done now for 2 years is they've said, yep, we've got Markkanen, we've got John Collins, we've got Walker Kessler, and we've got Jordan Clarkson. All of them are available just for the right price. And then you don't move any of them, right? So I'm just wondering, again, to your point, like Ryan Smith and the ownership there clearly is not in spend mode. And everyone's like, whoa, what do you mean they're not in spend mode? They extended Lauri Markkanen. Yeah, but what else are they going to do? Just let him walk? Like, come on, that's what they had to do. It's not like they're out here spending hundreds of millions of dollars on the entire roster to go out and make a run at a Western Conference championship. So, again, all I'm saying is Rob Pelinka, I agree, is probably already on the phone making calls, probably networking, getting feelers out there to understand where people are at right now, and trying to lay the foundation. And, if I'm Bron, I'm pissed. I'm disappointed in Luka. I'm disappointed in Jackson Hayes, with all due respect. I think that JJ didn't do a amazing job, but did a good enough job.
Oh, I think JJ Redick was fine. I think the issue much more was Luka didn't come through. I mean, it's as simple as that. He did not defend, and he was offensively, he was terrible last night.
Yeah.
Terrible. And I don't know, man. I think it's one of those situations where they need to remake that second spot. Yeah. LeBron and Giannis. Yeah. I think LeBron, Giannis, and Luka makes sense. It's going to be almost impossible to make those numbers work.
Yeah, and I wonder too, like, let's say that's the combo. I don't know, like, at some point, if you're JJ Redick, you got to trust guys like Dalton Connect. You can't just play 6 guys for an entire game or 5 guys. Like, that doesn't work, dude. Like,
I think Dalton Connect was wrecked by that trade that didn't happen.
Yeah.
He got sent out. He thought he was gone, and then he was back. And I think that wrecked him. And I think he was bitter and he was upset about it. And I agree. I think JJ's had to play him, and he didn't. And so now, can you bring him back this year? Okay, I don't know. I think that's interesting. Yes, please hit the like button. Thank you, Mike Smith. Appreciate that. Midweek Coug. LeBron ain't done yet. Does Luka even understand the concept of defense? He does not.
It is egregious at this point, not just from a basketball sense, but from a relationship sense. When you get traded like that and you come to a market like LA and play for the Lakers, it's incredible to me that we even have to ask the question if Luka understands the magnitude of playing for the Lakers. Do you understand the responsibility you have? Like and when I say the responsibility, what I mean is, I'm not asking this dude to be an all-NBA defender. That's not what I'm asking you for. What I'm asking you for is all-NBA effort. That's what I'm asking you for. I'm asking you for, give me everything you have every night, because that's what you're paid to do, and it's the playoffs. Yet here we are, and what is Luka doing? Luka's getting his ass handed to him by Ant on seemingly possession after possession. Ant's talking junk to you. Ant's making shots over you. Ant's dancing on you. Like, he's doing anything he wants to you. And I haven't even gotten to McDaniels yet. So my frustration with Luka is that I understand if a player has weaknesses. I get that. Every player does, including LeBron James. But the reality is, players cover for that with effort in other areas. They impact the game in different ways. You can't be a negative on offense and a negative on defense and a negative in the team huddle. Like, how does that work, dude?
Yeah.
Like, how do we do that?
I don't know. Man. Dude, don't get pneumonia. Pneumonia sucks. I thought my cough was gone. I didn't cough much today at all. And then I ate lunch, and this cough just is hanging on. Just hanging on. Jeff Woodworth, Monty's everyone's favorite Mormon. That's me. Brandon Butler, should he? Yes. Will he? Probably not. And good afternoon, my fellow miscreants. Brandon Butler, good to see you. Danny Kiger, is Jake's shirt champagne or taupe?
Yeah, it's really a controversial color today. I know it's not salmon today or whatever, but
Salmon.
But I really thought I'd get exotic and go for a gray and white combination today, and I knew that you guys would acknowledge my effort there, so I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah, I think it could be interesting. Here's the only trade with the Jazz, Lakers, and Bucks I can make work.
Okay.
The Bucks send Giannis to the Lakers. The Jazz send Bryce Sensabaugh to the Lakers. The Jazz get Kyle Kuzma, Rui Hachimura, Maxi Kleba, and Shake Milton, and 2 first-round picks.
Okay.
The Bucks get Austin Reeves, Jared Vanderbilt, and Lauri Markkanen. That's the only deal I can make work. And if you're the Jazz, and let's say you toss a first-round pick in, which I probably would not. I would probably say I would be willing to throw in Cleveland's 2028. And maybe the Lakers 2027, because those 2 picks are meaningless. I think that's the only way this trade works. So give the Bucks 2 first-round picks, give the Jazz 2 first-round picks, and the Lakers get Giannis and Bryce Sensabaugh. Yeah. That's the only structure of a trade I could make work. That's it. That's it. And it's to the penny that it works. And I don't even think that's close to a deal that would get a yes.
Right.
That's it. I mean, that's so difficult. Brandon Butler, Luka gets no coffee. Coffee is for closers. Exactly right. Exactly right. They would have to trade Luka to the good land. Lakers don't have the assets now to get anyone. I agree with that. Stadium guy James, LeBron and Luka need a 3rd star. Giannis would be a good fit. I don't think you can win with that kind of money on your cap.
I'm not sure that LeBron wants to keep playing with Luka. I mean, are we just
buying
that?
We've talked about this year after the trade. Those two did not seem to love playing together, because you could see that LeBron at times was visibly frustrated with Luka's just not making an effort on defense, like just not trying.
Yeah.
And when you're backed up by Jackson Hayes, you're in trouble.
Yeah.
Because that dude's only way to score is to catch a lob. Who are you, Rudy Gobert? Essentially, that's the only way he can score. Bryce Martin, what in the world? Bryce, how are you, bud? What in the world are the Lakers going to give up now to get Giannis? Austin Reeves. And that makes sense, because Giannis probably has at least 5 years.
Oh, yeah.
At least. And that's all you care about.
Yeah.
Is getting 5 years. If you're giving up a foundational player like Austin Reeves, you better be getting a Giannis in return.
Well, and listen, I think if you're getting if you're looking at Giannis and you're the Lakers right now, all you care about is does this player have enough to cover the rest of LeBron's seasons, in my opinion. Because once LeBron's done, I think you're looking at a complete overhaul of this roster. You're
a lot more flexibility.
You're in my opinion, you're going to gut this roster. You are going to start over. You may have a couple of bad seasons, but you're going to get in a much stronger financial position.
Yeah, I'm really curious if the Lakers try to move Luka this summer. I'm really curious about that.
I mean, you at a minimum have to gauge his value and have conversations.
If you add Austin Reeves, Giannis, and LeCap,
yeah.
That's like a really good, because Austin Reeves knocks the 3 down really consistently. It just is going to be, it's really hard when you're hard capped, man. Good Lord. You cannot take a penny more than you send out. Like, it has to be to the penny.
Yeah.
I think that's going to be really tough. Main event, Lakers don't have the salary cap for all 3 of them, as we're discussing.
Yeah.
Big Daddy Magic.
Here
now,
we go.
Here's the thing. Big Daddy Magic, you guys sent me a video today that it was a little shocking.
This is your beloved.
And maybe I need to call him Big Daddy Tragic.
Big
because
Daddy Magic.
he said something to me today in this video. Listen to this video from Big Daddy Magic.
Timothy.
That's me.
It's May 1st. That means it's the first of the month.
Really?
I like who I am. I'm the Victor guy. Victor's the way. You're the Victor resistance. I don't get it. Let me give you a history lesson. Detroit had the best odds of getting him. And if Victor would have became a Piston, the gentleman Pistons would be sweeping the Chicago Bulls for 20 years, neutering them, and Victor would be the owner of the largest collection of bullhorns in the world. Way. But he's not a matador.
Bro.
He is a Spur.
Oh, wait, it gets better.
I have to get my apartment ready for his pension and have it not smell like weed, or I'm going to be homeless, so I have to concentrate on that. You have a good day, Timothy.
Okay.
That's the life that I live. And so many people are sending me videos now because I play Big Daddy Magic's videos. Listen, you can send me videos. It doesn't mean they're getting played on the show.
Yeah, they have to be good. They have to make the show better.
Unless you're willing to admit your crib reeks like lettuce and weed, and the ganj, and it's so bad that you're going to get evicted from your apartment. I mean, we're talking about living real lives here.
Yeah, dude.
Big Daddy Magic says, well, San Antonio has 2 lottery picks in the strap, plus the Atlanta Hawks play next year, and Victor is European. Okay.
Man, wow.
Bryce says Giannis to the Rockets. Very big possibility. The Rockets are expected to be very busy this summer because they clearly are not good enough. No way Jimmy Butler is on Golden State team with Giannis. That's the only way they get that trade done. Dude, stranger things have happened. Stranger things have happened. Are you hearing any noise about going to San Antonio? Not for Giannis, I am.
Donnie, please.
I have not one time heard that Giannis would go to San Antonio.
No.
So
they're getting in the pooper for Cooper.
Yeah, I don't think there's any doubt about that.
Yeah.
I don't think there's any doubt about that.
Victor's the way.
It is fairly amazing to me that so many people believe that Giannis is going to wind up with the Lakers and that Cooper Flagg's going to wind up in San Antonio.
Yeah.
There is a belief out there that the NBA wants, dare I say it? Yeah, they want Victor and Pooper to be the winner. Could you imagine Victor Wembanyama and Cooper Flagg on the same roster? Good Lord. Giannis to the Kings or the Jazz, possibly the Trailblazers. Not a chance. Not a chance. What did GOAT turn into GOAT?
What does that mean?
Couldn't tell you. The Greek Freak is friends with Luka, and I'm pretty sure he likes Victor because who doesn't? Okay. Stadium Guy James. If Luka is smart, and no one said he was, he will take a pay cut so they can get a 3rd star. It's not going to happen. LeBron, Luka, and Giannis makes sense. If Luka doesn't have to be number 1 or 2 option, then he will be more effective. This is the contract that sets Luka up for the rest of his life. This is that, and now the Supermax is gone. He's not getting that. But he has to maximize every dollar in this contract. You really think Luka gets traded again? I don't know, but stranger things can happen. I mean, you look at Luka's situation, and you start to understand that there is not an easy path to paying him, the kind of money that he'd have made in Dallas. And I think that's a big part of Luka's bitterness. And obviously he has a player option for 26, 27. He's going to make 43. He made 43 this year, 46 next year. And then he's not probably walking away from 49.
No.
But we'll see. I mean, the economics of the NBA is ever changing, right? I mean, it's just a matter of how you figure that out. Big Daddy Magic, I swear, if Danny Ainge helps the Lakers get Giannis, I'm never trying for the Utah Jazz again. Dude, he has helped the Lakers so many times. Jazz fans would be so pissed if that happened again. Oh, my goodness. Can you imagine? Lakers knew Luka was not a defensive player, and they did not give up a king's ransom to get him. No. I mean, it depends on how you view Anthony Davis, but I would agree with that.
Yeah.
If the Lakers could go back in time, would they make that deal again?
Probably.
Probably.
Yeah.
probably it's awfully tough to not make that deal. Lori is trade bait this season. Yeah, that I don't think there's any doubt. I think everybody expects him to get moved. Everybody expects him to get moved. So Brandon Price says, good afternoon, gents. Smash the like button. Appreciate you. Car Wash Channel, LeBron needs to retire. He's old and getting slow and slower. Dude, he was the best player in the NBA for a long stretch this year. I would not say he's slow. And he sits out lots of games, and he don't play. And when he comes to Utah to play the Jazz, he just sits out and doesn't
why
play
would
it.
he play the Jazz, dude?
Why would he?
What's the incentive?
Why would you play that game? I think load management is here, and it's not going anywhere.
Yeah.
I think those marquee matchups, LeBron James plays in the lion's share of games. I don't think LeBron, his durability, I don't think his stamina, I don't think any of it's a problem. They finished 50-32. They're third in the West.
Yeah.
And we're really having a conversation about how LeBron's old and slow and he sits out too many games. Are you out of your mind? Like, you look at LeBron and you look at his stats. LeBron played 70 games this year. 70 games. He played 71 last year. Why are we possibly complaining about how many games he's playing?
No idea.
I think that's probably, if you want to keep it real, that's too many games. If we're being honest about it. Backwoods sexy Mike Smith. Monty got black lung from years in the coal mines. He should have worked with West Virginia clean coal, bros.
Well, that's the issue, isn't it?
If you
It's
are
so real, dude.
If you're over 40, get a pneumonia vaccination. I didn't even know they were a thing. And it is just so impossibly difficult to get over pneumonia. It is. And I say it like I've been sick for months. I've been sick for 2.5, 3 weeks.
Yeah.
And
but it feels like months.
It does. And really, brass tacks, I've only been over pneumonia for about a week. So I'm not complaining. I am finally sleeping well. I am not coughing in the middle of the night. I am not coughing regularly. Now I get on here and I protect my voice. I'll also tell you, with this pneumonia thing, eating spicy food makes me cough now. That's just the reality of it.
Yeah.
And my cough is better. I am not coughing nearly as much as I had been, but it's annoying as hell, man.
Yeah.
Like, you literally cannot get rid of it. And right now I'm trying to rest. I'm not going to the gym. I'm not lifting right now. Like, I'm not doing anything but playing golf. And it is, do not get pneumonia.
Yeah.
Because it is rough, bro. It is rough. I should trade Sexton and Clarkson for LeBron and What are you talking about? Come on, man. Could you see Luka being traded to the Nuggets? Him and Joker are best friends. I doubt that. I seriously doubt that. Are the Lakers really going to make the Nuggets good again?
No.
I don't think so. Luka and Zion, how about that?
Yeah, first team off fat ass.
Ozempic. Did you guys see there's more Ozempic side effects?
Yeah.
There's a belief that it's damaging people's colons now. Telling you. Steely, Monty, do you have a stalker? Not really a stalker. I don't think so. Weed's a hell of a drug. Yes. Trade Clarkson and Colin Sexton for Luka. Dude, you're being crazy now. Come on. Brandon Butler, his room smells like the green room from Jim Rome's set after Snoop did the show. and listen, Big Daddy Magic doesn't even try to hide the fact that he burns more hippie lettuce than anybody else in the state. I think if Big Daddy Magic had his way, and I'm not speaking for him, I would guess if Big Daddy Magic had his way, he would smoke weed 24/7.
Yep. And
never come down off of it. Never, ever come down off of it. Jeff Woodworth, did Victor remember the Alamo? If he did he see Pee-wee's bike? Dude, are we just going to have this kind of Thursday show?
Is that what this is?
We're going to have this kind of Thursday show. You know, Brandon Butler, can't redo deals like they do in the NFL. No, you can't. No, you can't. Patrick Reibel, if LaFlop, is LaFlop able to walk after gently bumping into Dante and collapsing like a tree? Chef's kiss was his teammates couldn't care less. They're so used to his flops.
I mean, I don't disagree. He got caught flopping in the playoffs.
I don't think there's any doubt about it.
No question about that.
I don't think there's any doubt about it. The awkward guy, Luka to San Antonio. Yeah, I don't think so.
Yeah, no.
Luka to Houston could be real. I could see Luka going to Houston. That would be interesting. Do you think, Brandon Butler, do you think Nico is celebrating Told You So Thursdays, dude? And I understand it's controversial. I totally get that. The Luka trade from Dallas to LA, controversial. Was Nico right? Yes and no. I agree. I hate the way it all happened, but I don't know another way that you would do it. So is he wrong? No. Was he right? No.
Yeah.
Did he do what's best for the Mavericks? I think he did.
You have a deal.
I think because you're not paying Luka a $200-300 million contract, whatever it would have been. No chance. Jeff Woodworth, MJ the GOAT, end of discussion.
I'm not really here to have that conversation.
Yeah, and I don't think anybody trying to compare LeBron to Mike just doesn't know basketball.
Yeah.
There's no comparison. You can't do it. Luka is the GOAT for defense. Depends on what kind of GOAT you're talking about. 40s in age is old for NBA, so needs to retire. Well, it's not your age, it's your production.
Listen, we're not, bro. You can keep saying this stuff. I don't have the energy to fight with you today. Like, just trying to talk about LeBron trades. Like,
LeBron's not too old to play in the NBA.
No.
He's simply not car wash. Like, that's, yeah, you're crazy. Midweek Coug, I got pneumonia shot because the pharmacist recommended it.
It's rough, bro.
I didn't hear about it until I went to urgent care to see what was wrong with me. And they're like, hey, did you get a pneumonia vaccination? I'm like, I didn't even know that was a thing.
Biologics.
Didn't even know that was a thing.
Human or non-human?
I got the shingles vaccination a year ago. I got didn't even know that was a thing.
Biologics.
Pneumonia sucks, dude. It is nothing to toy with. Nothing to toy with at all. LeBron and plus, I'm happy Lakers got eliminated. They don't need to win an NBA championship. Lakers suck. Well, they were third in the West. So I'm going to say the Lakers don't suck. ACC West Coast Commissioner Gumby, Stalker, we prefer to be called casuals. Also, dude. Bro. Casuals don't send videos. Dude, do you know how many people send me videos now that Big Daddy Magic did? And I thought my problems were largely gone when I stopped reading my Twitter notifications and DMs.
It sucks.
Yeah, I just don't read them.
Yeah.
Now it's all TikTok.
Yeah.
The number of people who send me TikTok videos like,
hey, Monty.
Hey, bro, did you hear Jim Harbaugh? And he was seen in his backyard grilling cheeseburgers.
Sign Steeler guy.
What a jerk. I cannot tell you how many of those I've gotten. That awkward guy. San Antonio has a ton of capital. I can see them making a play for Luka, KD, or Giannis. I think Kevin Durant is very much in play in San Antonio. Although, I think if you're Kevin Durant, wouldn't you rather go to Houston? Houston's much closer than San Antonio to a championship, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
I would think Ime Udoka, supposedly players like playing for him. He's turned into that guy who's always a pain in the ass.
Yeah.
But supposedly players like playing for him. And there's no doubt since he rolled into H-Town, they're better. They're absolutely. I love what Houston has going on. I'm a fan. I'm fighting a cough. That's why the pause.
Yeah.
Too early to judge success of the Luka trade. 2 years to see how things play out.
I disagree, bro. I disagree.
I think that's partially true. If they win a championship in the next 2 years.
They're not going to win a championship with Luka.
Not with Luka and LeBron as your centerpiece.
I think that typically I would agree with you that 2 years is a reasonable window, but with this particular trade, I think it's much sooner than that. I think that this trade was done as a catalyst to push you into the playoffs and to give you new firepower. And we didn't get triple-double Luka. We didn't get, 40 points in the playoffs, dominating people, we didn't get that. And to be honest with you, yeah, I would not pay Luka max. I'd trade him. I would trade him. I would bring a new face in to pair with LeBron, and take another run, dude. I would not cave to Luka.
I think that's a really interesting.
Luka's told you who he is now, and it's on you if you keep paying him.
And if you can get Giannis, why would you?
Yeah.
You wouldn't. I'm on the Ozempic and have noticed that it has killed my defense game on the court. Yeah, it's rough.
Yeah, bro.
Ozempic's crazy. The new studies now, because we've had enough exposure to it. I'm so glad I never started semaglutides. Like I've all the weight I've lost has been through diet. That's it. Eating whole foods, not eating sugar, and being at between 15 and 1,700 calories a day. I want none of the problems that we are now seeing. Blindness, bowel obstructions, loose bowels, colon issues. Nah, I'm good. Fat. Jesus. We're not here for the MJ GOAT conversation. Jake is your Jordan Hudson.
Well,
there you go. He is my Jordan Hudson.
Facts.
Wait until you hear the Jordan Hudson update today. Bill Belichick's girlfriend. Ooh. I only send Monty my OnlyFans invites. That's right. I got to get on the X machine to send Morty some videos. My life is some vids, excuse me. My life is so much better without X. So we have golf on in the studio, and what's the commercial? Ozempic. I don't know that I've ever seen an Ozempic before.
They're not listening at all.
Come on.
No.
If you're over 50, get every country's tracker injected every chance you get. We don't recover like we used to. Yeah, and I haven't been sick I, knock on wood, thankfully avoided COVID. Never tested positive for COVID. I haven't been sick in years. I mean, I haven't had a cold, knock on wood, never got the flu.
It's an antibody cocktail.
And then we flew to Phoenix for spring training. My wife got sick on the plane. I think that's where she picked it up. First of all, Jake got sick. He got over it. We flew to Phoenix. My wife had this lady coughing up a lung behind her. We get back from Phoenix. My wife is sick. I got sick. And I'm trying to get over it now. But it is painful. It is painful. Don't listen to that nutter. Get your vaccine shots when you're getting older. Totally agree. What is Kawhi's future with the Clippers? Can he be moved? Can he be on the move again? I don't think so.
No, I think he retires a Clipper, dude.
I think he retires a Clipper. They like him a lot, and he's shown you he can still play. Crazily. Can he handle a huge load? I don't know. But he's shown you he can still play. Shut up.
How do you manage to do it every day?
God, you're such a child.
A lot.
How? Can he handle a huge load? You're talking about the load management king over here. Of course this guy can handle a load. I mean,
bro,
come on.
What is wrong with you?
You got to get stroked.
What is wrong with you?
I mean, honestly.
God. Juicy. Lakers expected Luka to come in with a bang, but he came in with a pew. Exactly right. Luka for Kawhi, I would not do that.
No.
Midweek Coug, Lakers should trade for Harden. Nah, I don't think so. But could be wrong. Monty and his load addiction. So wait. And I've explained this for the last several weeks on the show that Jake sends me porn on my phone
via social media
every day. Today,
dude, the one today was awesome, dude.
No, awesome is not the word I would use. Awesome is not the word I would use.
What are we doing?
Jake thinks it's funny. Jake thinks it's funny to send me videos like this. Do you see that? That's not a hot dog.
The cock.
That's not a hot dog, bro.
Macaque.
No, that's not a hot dog. And what do I get?
His cock.
This is the life this guy leads.
Dude.
I'm trying to show prep. I've got sales calls.
Dude, it's not my fault a dog with a raging hard-on popped up on my feed.
Yeah,
and
but you don't have to share
That's
dick
funny
pics.
as hell, dude.
You don't have to share dick
I'm
pics.
so bricked up right now.
What is wrong with you?
It's funny as hell, dude.
Like, what? You are... Yeah, I don't need to see that dog's red rocket. I really don't.
Hey, that was funny as hell.
Jeff Woodworth. Only Monty and Shaq leave a showgram in the middle of a discussion to drop an Ozempic size load. Dude.
Bro.
The things I do in my bathroom, you know. Jake is, is an enabler for Monty's load addiction.
That's right. That's right, dude. You know,
It's not the best situation, and we all know that.
You know. T. Lawrence, hey, casuals, LeBron should play 25-26 season as a farewell tour, make it his last season. What else does he need to accomplish other than Defensive Player of the Year? A championship.
Yeah.
I think he needs to win another championship. That's, in my opinion, that's what he needs. Johnny Gonzalez, K9 inches or bigger?
I want more.
Come on, man. Come on. Johnny also says it's an emotional support load.
That's right. That's right, dude.
Welcome to the fucking show.
Big Blue Horses, macaque.
Yeah. You guys know what it is, dude.
Macaque.
Oh,
See,
man.
you brought this on yourself today.
Conundrum says 24 coughs per month on average, dude. I wish that was
we're
it.
well over 21.
Can you do something for me? The dog was harder than Luka's back yesterday. Like, what are we doing? What are we... See, this is what happens. What do I always say about porn? It's the great destroyer of Thursday shows.
I love that show.
Pornography's the great destroyer of Thursday shows, man. Dude gets on the gram, and all of a sudden I'm full of D pics, and you guys are all hyenas in the comments section.
Bad.
Look how hard his back is. Oh. You know, it's fine. It is what it is. It's fine. T. Lawrence, how does LeBron's legacy change with a fifth championship, Monty? It's called Kobe. Maybe you've heard of it.
I mean, there is that. Certainly. I think, you know, there's this discussion. Anybody saying or questioning whether LeBron's a Hall of Famer is an absolute idiot. This guy's a Hall of Famer, first
No doubt
ballot,
about
no
it.
question about it. Nothing's going to change that. The conversation around legacy is a different conversation. You know, Buddy's 4 for 10 in the finals, I believe it is.
Buddy.
You know, first of all, getting to 10 finals, great accomplishment. Cool. Love it. You are the best player of your generation, no doubt about it. But not a winner in that sense. You know, doesn't have a winning. He's not above 500, obviously, which I think is the benchmark. You know, in terms of how will Bron be remembered? I will remember Bron as the guy who endured and was an Iron Man, essentially. And because of that, racked up a ton of stats and had an amazing career. I will not remember LeBron James as a prolific winner in the finals, certainly. I will not remember LeBron James.
He got blown out in the finals a lot.
Yeah, like, you know, there were a lot of times where
2018 he got swept. How many times has he been swept? 2018 he got swept. 2007 he got swept. Lost to the Mavericks 4-2. Then the Heat beat the Thunder 4-1. Heat beat the Spurs 4-3. That was an epic series. Then in 2014, the Spurs beat the Heat 4-1. Warriors beat the Cavs 4-2. Like, when he loses ugly.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the forever championship is the Cavs one. You go back to Cleveland.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
But
yeah, I mean, I think it's important that he wins one more. You know, I think that could. It is the finish that you need to an illustrious career. The finish you need to one of the greatest careers we've ever seen.
I think legacy matters.
Yeah.
I think legacy absolutely matters, and I don't know how you say it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
I really don't. Big Blue Horses, a member of the show for 18 months. NBA needs face. No Utah first pick. Thanks for all you do. Thank you, Big Blue Horses. Yeah, I don't.
Yeah.
Cooper Flagg's a big one. I think they need Cooper Flagg in a major market, and they need him to be as advertised. Lamont Tucker, a member for 21 months.
Appreciate you, Lamont.
Let's go, Lamont Tucker. Appreciate you. Good to see you, my friend. I think they need Cooper Flagg in a large market. I do. BYU football, I agree. Jordan is the GOAT. I'll remember LeBron James as chasing Jordan for greatness and falling short by a long shot. I just don't think they're comparable.
Yeah.
They played in two completely different eras. What we talked about with social media yesterday, where what would Michael Jordan's life have been on social media?
Who the hell knows?
How many gambling this, golf that, his dad's murder, like social media changed the whole thing. The pandemic alone absolutely altered the course of LeBron's career. I mean, I think winning that bubble championship was one of the hardest things that's ever been done in the NBA. I think that's what it is, like it is.
Yeah.
Comparing LeBron to Jordan is just, there's no way to do it. Having seen them both, having covered them both, there's no way to do that. LeBron is so unbelievably different than Jordan was. Just from a personality perspective, like Mike stepping away and playing baseball or being banned and going to however you want to, the gambling stuff with Jordan, the women with Jordan.
Yeah.
Jerry Reinsdorf is an owner. LeBron's never had an owner refusing to pay or spend money. LeBron's never had an owner choose a GM, although cookies with Pat Riley. But
yes.
LeBron's never had an owner choose a GM over him. Like, it's just you can't compare the two. Kobe and LeBron, okay, let's have a discussion about that. But I just think there's too much of a gap between Jordan and LeBron. That just
I agree.
Yeah. I think it's too much. I do think it's too much. All right. Who do you like, Knicks and Pistons tonight? Because the prize picks in that game, I think this is one of the most difficult prize pick NBA playoff games I've ever seen. I'm using the there's a 25% payout boost on a pick today.
Yeah.
So in the NBA, I think it is like, look at Clippers Nuggets.
Yeah.
Jamal Murray, 20.5 points. I think you probably go more, but
they've got his demon numbers way up.
I mean, it's impossible to take Jamal Murray on a demon, right? And then if you go Clippers, like James Harden, 20.5 points, you can't do that with him, right? So I go like free throws made, 5 free throws made. He's pretty much pushed that 3 of his last 4 games. So you hate that. Like, this is a really difficult one to call. I mean, I don't know. Points, rebounds, and assists for Harden.
Yeah. I mean, I really like the 2-pointers attempted, 7.5 2-pointers attempted. Sorry.
Don't die.
That really should be. I mean, you're looking at, let's see here.
Man.
I'm looking at his stats. And
like Jalen Brunson tonight. Jalen Brunson's points, rebounds, and assists are 38.5, and I think you got to go more. But Cade Cunningham.
Yeah, what's Cade's number? What's
on points, rebounds, and assists? His midline is 43.5. His Goblin's 49.5. He's not doing that. Like, it's impossible, man. It's impossible. So I'm just going to stick with what I've got. I've got Jamal Murray more than 20.5 points. James Harden less than 35.5 points, rebounds, and assists. And I think Jalen Brunson's going to go off against Detroit, more than 44.5 points, rebounds, and assists.
And is that a
that's a demon.
That's a demon. I'll go with you on that. I like that.
I'm doing 20 to win 120.
Okay, I am going Jamal Murray more than 20.5 points straight up. I'm going to go James Harden for more than 7.5 2-pointers attempted. Not made, but attempted.
Who's that pick?
And then short guy, left-hander Jalen Brunson for the demon on 44.5 points, rebounds, and assists, 20 to win 90.
I'm really curious, really curious if the Knicks can pull this off. Let's see. Marcus Dewey. Marcus Dewey. Good to see you, friend.
Dewey.
He says you got to go less than on Jalen Brunson's 38.5. So he took less than on Jalen Brunson, more than on Cade Cunningham. So Dewey, you're taking Cade Cunningham to outplay Jalen Brunson.
I mean, they're down. The Knicks are up 3-2 in that. Do I have that right?
Yes. Yep. And he's got Ivica Zubac going more than 8 defensive rebounds. I like that one a lot.
Yeah, I don't mind those at all. Yeah.
I like that one a lot.
I would say that.
God, you and this dog dick.
Dude,
I left that
you
video
keep
on my
looking
screen.
At it. It's not my fault, dude.
I'm going
you
to Josie. I'm going to Joey Harper, who sent me his picks.
Well,
macaque.
I mean, I don't know what to tell you.
Harper's got Aaron Gordon more than 14.5 points. Again, Ivica Zubac less than 8 defensive rebounds, and Jalen Brunson more than 38.5 points.
Yeah.
Okay, I don't hate that. I don't hate that at all.
What's
Joseph
our
Harper.
promos looking like on Prize Picks here? We got the 25% payout you were talking about.
Yeah, it's a payoff incentive. I like that. I don't know. I think that's really interesting. I couldn't do MLB today because the Cubs were busy beating the hell out of Paul Skeens. How about the Cubs scoring the most runs in baseball and just not able to get anybody out?
Yeah.
Just can't get anybody out. But they beat Paul Skeens today, and that's what you got to do to win a series. Cubs are in first place in the Central. So we're hanging on. We are hanging on by a thread.
Keep working, dude.
Wasikowski, I think the Pistons are tying the series tonight. It's tough because there really hasn't been a home court advantage in that series. I think I'm stoked to see Cade Cunningham go off tonight. It's a big game.
Yeah.
Jeff Woodworth, how is the dude that fell from the stands yesterday?
Oh, I have no idea.
In critical condition.
Yeah, I don't think there was an update yet.
I saw it this morning. He's in critical condition. So how do you... Dude, if you fall out of the stands, you're a dumb fan. Come on. John Famler, my experience is Paxlovid is almost instantaneously relieving COVID symptoms. I've never experienced such a medicine, but you might need to time it for no rebound. Well,
Dude,
I don't have COVID.
Paxlovid, you know?
Yeah, I don't have COVID.
The coronavirus.
Thankfully, I had pneumonia.
Hydroxychloroquine.
And the lady told me the pneumonia cough is going to hang on. It is one of those things, especially because I've really never had pneumonia.
Yeah.
And it's very powerful.
I hadn't taken antibiotics in over 10 years. And that's how serious this was. I was on multiple antibiotics. Like it was not fun. Johnny Gonzalez, Lakers in 5. Play the song, Monty. Okay, should we talk about what do you guys make of this Stephen A. Smith thing? Because this flipping guy is everywhere.
This freaking guy.
Right? So while you're downloading the Prize Picks app and using the promo code Monty, use the promo code Monty to open up a new Prize Picks account. You deposit just $5, they'll give you 50 more instantly. Make it happen. You deposit $5, they'll give you 50 more instantly. Make it happen, man. Okay, so let me ask you the question that I talked about earlier. Do you guys like Stephen A. Smith? I am not a fan at all. Not even a little bit. I think most of the stuff he says is made up, in my opinion. I don't think he believes half the crap that comes out of his face.
Hell no.
And I think that he is not entertaining. I don't find him to be compelling at all. Frankly, I don't watch First Take or the Talking Head shows.
Mm-hmm.
He ruins NBA coverage for me. And like I'm looking at this town hall last night on Fox, and I'm like, I'm not watching Stephen A. Smith moderate a political debate. I have zero interest in that.
Yeah.
And now the conversation today is Stephen A. Smith should run for president.
SAS.
No, he should not. Stephen A. Smith should not run for president. We need somebody who's actually presidential and can run the country. Stephen A. Smith doesn't fall into that category. And listen, I have a lot of respect for what Stephen A's done, the money he's made. Dude, knock yourself out. That's great. Stephen A. Smith is a basketball writer, not a moderator of a political debate. Like he's on General Hospital. Stephen A. Smith gets a cameo to murk a nurse on General Hospital.
Sorry to interrupt. I'm gonna need to see some ID. ID. Now.
Of course.
Come on.
Come on, bro.
You're a terrible actor. You're a terrible actor. And I don't understand this. I get it. He probably wanted to be on a soap opera. He probably wants to be an actor. You're at Disney, ABC, ESPN. Go for it, dude. Get a cameo on General Hospital. More power to you. But this guy, I just think he's overhyped. That's what I feel like.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's overhyped. I think his style is I mean, let's put it nicely, abrasive. I think that Stephen A. Smith, plays to his crowd just like anybody else does. And I think, it's interesting that, you have a guy in Stephen A. Smith who's commented on everything under the sun, it seems like, and ESPN's paid him hundreds of millions of dollars now to do it. And now the guy thinks he can step into the political arena. He thinks he can step on the soap opera arena, and he can just do whatever the hell he wants to do. Which in the real world he can, I guess, but that doesn't mean that I have to like you or respect this or be a fan of this. And I don't and would never advocate for him to get involved in politics. I think one of the worst things that we have in our country is dudes who are not traditional politicians get involved in politics, and then all of a sudden they get shredded. Right. All your skeletons come out of the closet, all your secrets and all your, tweets from like 15 years ago that are heinous get scrubbed. Like that's what we do in our country. So I don't resonate with Stephen A. Stephen A. is around. I don't watch a show. I don't watch First Take. He's just not my cup of tea. And so the fact that he is such a staple at ESPN, I'm not sure if it's a good thing or not. Clearly, the guy has ratings and people watch him, or he wouldn't be getting extensions and everything. But I just get burned out on dude's style and always yelling and always being in your face about it. And that's part of the issue with sports talk generally now. That's pretty much all we get. We get, you're either screaming at me or you're making some terrible joke or you're giving me a super uneducated take. Like that's the problem. So no, I don't like Stephen A. It's not personal. I just don't like your style. I don't like the way you go about it. I don't like the way you deliver your opinion, which is fine. We're all entitled to that opinion. So no, I would not have him run for president. I'm certainly not going to be caught watching First Take or his shows.
Yeah, I have zero desire to see it. And I like the $100 million thing. Listen, if that's what you're able to get, go get it. I don't begrudge him for the money or the opportunity. I begrudge him because I really don't care what he thinks about Social Security. I don't care what he thinks about any of this other nonsense. The thing that I crave and what Stephen A. does not deliver is compelling intellectual conversations about sports. And hell, we just talked about it on the show yesterday that we can't have an exchange of ideas. We need exchanges of ideas, not
I'm going to
Stephen
say
A.
this again.
Not Stephen A. Smith screaming at me every day.
Yeah, seriously.
We don't need the guy who just says stuff to elicit a response. It's what broke sports radio, and we've never recovered from it. Because hot take guy and screaming guy and aggressive guy and insult guy, like Stephen A. Smith is all of that. And while it may work for him, I don't think it works for the vast majority of sports talk radio, sports talk streams, conversations. Like if we're just sitting here telling you you're stupid, as Jake is wanting to do most days, you're not going to come back. We're not going to have enjoyable conversations about dog penis.
Y'all feel me?
Right? Like that's... You can't do that when you're constantly yelling at people.
Yeah.
And it's why I'm always so perplexed about how Skip Bayless was. How was Skip Bayless?
Drip Bayless.
Excuse me. How was Drip Bayless ever able and given a platform where he so regularly was just not a good human being, in my opinion? How was he given a platform to treat people so poorly? How was he given a platform where behind the scenes, allegedly, he treated people so poorly and nobody ever did anything about it? That's the thing I don't get. Stephen A. Smith is getting $100 million from ESPN, and it's not enough. Now we got to do soap operas, and now we got to go and do Fox News, and we got like, why? Is the $100 million just not enough? Is the opportunity you get to be on ESPN every day, is that just not enough anymore?
No, I think he's trying to build influence. That's what I think he's trying to do. I think he is saying, I want to be in multiple places every day. I want to be on YouTube. I want to be on linear. I then want to go and do the town hall on a different channel. And then I guess, you know what I mean? Like, I think that's what he's trying to do. And I think that's why you see him commenting on a million different things every day. And he's going to roll out a campaign, in my opinion, because I do think he's going to run, where he's going to say that, you know, he's a New Yorker or whatever, that, you know, is the common American that built it from nothing. You know, and, you know, he's just going to take that approach to it. And I don't know, man, we're going to wake up one day and there's going to be a headline on the news or something, or a push notification saying Stephen A. Smith scandal unveiled, you know.
I really hope not.
But you know what I mean? Like I'm just not like, I'm going to get out in front of this and say, I'm not going to be surprised if that happens, if he wants to run for president, because that's how it goes.
I really hope it's not. Nacho Libre says he's annoying AF. Big Daddy Magic. We agree it should have been Victor on. Okay, Victor should have been moderating. Boyd Lake, we have to practice to be considered. He had to practice to be considered a terrible actor. I can't read. He'd have to practice to be considered a terrible actor.
Yeah.
He's not good. He's not good. Jeff Woodward, Stephen A. doesn't think hot dogs are sandwiches, so I can't vote for him.
He probably thinks there's only one hole in a straw. I mean,
Truth.
you know.
Truth. Mel Kiper crying on draft night.
Okay, again, dude.
What are you talking about?
What are you talking about, man?
Like what are you talking about? I don't. Why someday? Yeah. Anyway, Big Blue Horses. There was a time when debate was point counterpoint, measured and even. Now it's just who yells and interrupts the loudest and the most often.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's brutal. Jeff Woodward, Triumph the Insult Comic Dog 2028. Man, I miss Triumph. The thing that Stephen A makes him compelling to watch is he really loves basketball. It's obvious when he talks about it. I don't think he's compelling. I don't think he's compelling.
I think he tries to sound compelling with the way he delivers it, but what he's actually saying is not.
I would agree with that. Johnny Gonzalez, Entertainment and Steven Programming Network. There you go. There you go.
Yeah, yeah, I'm tired of average Joe talking head wanting to run for president. I'm over it.
Yeah, totally agree. All right. Then there's this. Now, I've heard some stupid stuff in my life. And I know that Aaron Rodgers is controversial. But do you think there's any way that Aaron Rodgers kept the Pittsburgh Steelers from drafting Shedeur?
He was only going to get drafted to be a backup. And we know this from Kaepernick, from Tebow. Nobody wants the most high-profile player on the team to be the backup quarterback. Nobody wants a lightning rod, polarizing backup quarterback. And I got to tell you, Dan, no, I have no proof of this. I'm convinced that Aaron Rodgers told the Steelers, hey, I'm coming. I'll play for you, but don't take the Sanders kid. Because Aaron doesn't want to deal with that. Aaron doesn't want the first time he has a bad game, people calling for the Steelers to put Shedeur Sanders in.
Again, Ross Tucker, okay. This is one of the stupidest things I've ever heard. That Aaron Rodgers told the Steelers, don't draft Shedeur Sanders. If I'm Aaron Rodgers, do I want a highly touted rookie behind me? Probably not. Am I calling the Steelers and being like, if you draft Shedeur Sanders, I won't play there? No. Do you believe there's any truth to that?
Not an ounce. Not even a sliver. And, you know, I think that it's incredible. I mean, Shedeur Sanders has single-handedly become, you know, one of the most polarizing, influential, talked about like dudes. And it's really nothing to do with him. I mean, honest to God, if you look at it, we're now talking about Aaron Rodgers told teams not to draft him. Owners told their GMs not to draft him. Like this guy said this to that guy. Like it's incredible to me that Colin Kaepernick and Shedeur Sanders are now in the same conversation. Like, with all due respect to Ross Tucker, we got to be better than this. Like, this is incredible to me that we've graduated now to people are on one hand saying this kid sucks, but now Aaron Rodgers is scared to play on the same team with him because he's going to back him up and come in now. But wait, I thought he sucked. I thought Shedeur couldn't play. I thought that he was terrible and it was just daddy ball. So why would Aaron Rodgers be scared of a kid who has no talent and can't play?
And you comparing him to Tim Tebow.
Like, what do you mean? Like,
it's crazy. Why is Shedeur Sanders so controversial?
Because of his dad. That's why. It's not because of him. And I will forever die on this hill. I think that people are so damn scared of a black kid who is confident and talented and good at what he does. The guy is as good as any quarterback in this draft, and you're scared of him because of his dad. Like,
then there is the RG3 thing, which is wild. RG3 says, I'm being told some NFL head coaches feared drafting Shedeur in the first round as a starter. It's not working out, and then eventually being replaced by Deion Sanders as the head coach. That's weak and cowardly. Cost this man $40 million.
So wait, let me get this right. So now we've got Ross Tucker saying Aaron Rodgers is scared of Shedeur. We've got RG3 saying that allegedly head coaches are scared to draft Shedeur because they don't want to be replaced by his dad when their team sucks. So this is my point. And this is my point to all the haters yesterday. Bro, you guys are all so scared of this kid.
Yes.
Because you know the truth. And the truth is, this kid's really good. This kid's going to play in the NFL for a long time. And the moment that this kid gets a chance to play in the NFL, he is never letting that go.
And I think this right here, that Shedeur's jersey is now by a wide margin the number one selling jersey out of the NFL draft.
You think that's an accident, bro?
I think it scares people because I think it shows how much support Shedeur has. The problem is I don't think Shedeur will ever be defined by his play on the field. He's put himself in a position where he's a lightning rod. And the stories about how poorly he interviewed, that he doesn't have an agent and he mishandled the pre-draft, the pre-combine and pre-draft process. Huge mistake by him. Because I think that is going to forever define him. And I don't think Cleveland's an easy place for a quarterback to succeed. I think if you're Joe Flacco And obviously you're different than Aaron Rodgers. But if you're Joe Flacco, you probably will be hearing Shedor's footsteps.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think Cleveland fans are ready never to talk about Deshaun Watson again. I think they want to talk about Shedeur Sanders and not washcloth guy.
And the crazy part is Joe Flacco's never run from this dynamic. And the funny thing is if you look at the history of the NFL, the guys who don't run from it and they embrace it and they say, hey, yeah, I am the veteran. This is my team right now, but I can also help my team by developing the young guy just in case I get hurt. Like,
let me show you how to do this.
Like how have we as I guess like sports culture, like people that follow sports or these guys that are involved in the NFL firsthand, why are we so scared? Like what are you running from? Like what are you honestly, like, are we being serious right now with this report? Like, I'm not saying it's entirely true, but the fact that this dude's tweeting about it tells me that somebody told him this. You're telling me he's just making this up entirely. That this is a complete lie and just a facade.
I don't know.
I don't buy that that's just a complete lie. I think that there is some truth to it. And as far as Ross Tucker is concerned, if you're Aaron Rodgers and you're scared of Shador Sanders, you should just retire now.
But if you're a head coach and you're worried that Deion's going to take your job,
retire.
Because Shador is on your roster, you're not a very good head coach.
No, you're not. You're not.
That's what this tells me.
And I think to that point, you're worried about the wrong things. Like, Shador Sanders should be treated just like any other kid, any other young draft pick, any other young quarterback. You better work your ass off, dude. You better be here before everyone and be here after everyone leaves. You better be first in, last out, earning your reps, lifting weights, staying after practice, all of it. And to this point, Shedeur has been doing that. Shedeur has been involved in the community. So your biggest fear shouldn't be that daddy ball is going to come in when the team sucks. Your biggest fear should be that you're going to look like an idiot when this kid inevitably gets a chance and takes over the NFL. Because I'm telling you, there is a good chance that that's going to happen. Shedeur Sanders has a better opportunity to do that in Cleveland than Cam Ward does in Tennessee. You guys understand that, right? Like, there's better opportunity in Cleveland right now. The setup's better. There's more talent. It came out today that Cleveland and the Chicago Bears are trying to sign Nick Chubb and get him back in the fold. Like people are trying to get better, and I just don't understand why everyone is shaking in their boots over Deion Sanders. The guy's not even in the NFL, and you're scared of this dude. I don't understand it.
Yeah, I don't know. Delaric, do I think Rodgers did that? No, but I would not be surprised if he did do that. Okay, well, that's a different discussion. Is Aaron capable of that? Sure he is. Sure he is. Stadium guy James and slurper of Jake. Jake is spot on about Shedeur Sanderson. Preach it, bro. I'm not.
Who the hell is Shedeur Sanderson?
Huh.
Whatever.
Interesting. That awkward guy, Jake, you can't say that when 90% of the kids drafted were confident black kids that were good at their position. No. No, they were not on Shedeur's level. Shedeur was out there. Shedeur has a Lamborghini. Shedeur's got a shoe deal. Shedeur's got the watch. Shedeur's got
swag for days, dude.
And none of those other kids are Deion Sanders' son. And I don't think there's any doubt that race played a factor in it.
They are scared of this kid. They are scared of
I would agree
of this kid, because notice what we don't do in the NFL. Notice the successful white quarterback who flaunts his wealth, who is on Instagram showing you his cars and his 50-acre ranch with his horses and his dad's hunting collection. You understand how valuable that hunting collection is with Quinn Ewer's dad? You guys understand that? Like how much money that is?
And yet we're complaining that Deion and his kids go fishing.
Like, come on, bro. Like nobody complained that Jackson Dart was out here killing animals before the draft and bragging about it.
He's unprofessional.
Like, nobody was saying that.
Come on.
But then dude's out here with his chain and, his car and hanging out. And we're saying that that not only is he not a good person, allegedly by some reports, according to the NFL people, but that you're not going to sign him because you're scared his dad's going to come in?
Yeah.
Like, you guys are ridiculous, dude. It's honest to God, it's borderline embarrassing how they've treated Shedeur in this draft.
I would agree. That awkward guy, it's not a race thing, it's a circus thing, and it's the media's fault.
Now it's the media's fault. Okay.
So the media shouldn't cover it. What's the media's job? Not everything's the media's fault.
Listen. I will give credence that I do think Shador Sanders probably played the wrong game in this draft.
I would agree.
I think that Shador Sanders went into some of those interviews and rubbed some people the wrong way. I do think there is some credence to that.
First of all, the revelation that he doesn't have an agent, dude,
is wild.
You cannot. Your agent doesn't negotiate your contracts, and that's his only job. His job is to make sure that you're ready, prepare you for the interviews, make sure you're working out, get you the right coaches in the right places.
He's giving you the answer to the test.
Working on the right things. You can't do what Shedeur did in the pre-draft and combine interviews. Big Daddy Magic. I thought the 49ers should have taken him the last pick day 2 to put the pressure on Purdy. I think a lot of people said that. I think a lot of people want Purdy to show you that he's more than a system guy. And whether that's fair or unfair, I think it is what it is, right? That's the public perception. I think the Rams should have used a second or third pick and let him sit behind Stafford for 2 years. Well, I think it'd be 1 year because Stafford, I think this is it. Joseph Harper, if Shedeur puts up 28 and your D gives up 31, you're getting canned no matter what. I would agree with that.
That's what I mean. Like this assertion that so Shedor's on the roster, but your team is awful, so you're scared Deion's going to come in? Like, no, dude, you should be scared that your team sucks and you're going to get fired regardless of who comes in behind you.
Put your energy into not sucking.
Yeah. Like, has nothing to do with Shedeur Sanders.
Jeff Woodworth, back of the washcloth calculations. That's what it sounds like.
Exactly, dude.
It's what it sounds like.
Like, I honestly feel like a lot of people in the NFL are just using Shedeur and his success as a cover for not drafting another quarterback or not doing whatever they don't want to do. Yeah. Like, that's ridiculous.
Stadium guy James, I'm hoping that he struggles in Cleveland so in 2 or 3 years the Browns trade him and the Chiefs can pick him up as a guy who succeeds Mahomes. He can learn from Mahomes for 2 years, then take over. So you only want Patrick Mahomes to be the quarterback of the Chiefs, because if Shedeur struggles, he'll be cut after this season. You're telling me that you want Shedeur to be not good in Cleveland and then go to Kansas City and replace Patrick Mahomes for the scumbag Kansas City Chiefs, even though you're a Dallas Cowboy fan. Fairly interesting.
Apparently.
Fairly interesting. Patrick Reibel, Flacco is today's Testaverde or DeBerg. There's something to that, certainly. Here's my biggest writer worry with Shedeur. He's scrawny like Jaden Daniels. No. Jaden, they're approximately the same weight. I think they're both about 210 pounds. But Jaden Daniels is like 6'4.5". He is tall and lanky. Shedeur's got that booty. He's got a trunk. And he's got legs, thighs, glutes.
And you're comparing him to Jaden, who just had one of the best rookie seasons in the NFL. Like,
I think he's comparing him physically.
But my point is if you're comparing him, what do you mean you're worried when this cat just came out here and played the whole season and was fine? Like, what do you mean?
Let's see what year 2 looks like. I think, guys like Caleb and Jaden are going to have to prove they can redo in year 2 what they did in year 1. And I think that's going to be remarkably difficult for either of them to accomplish. Although with the Bears, it's shocking, but the Bears actually put a massive influx of capital into a support system. So we'll see. Bryce, that requires NFL quarterbacks to be selfless and not egomaniacs. Ain't that the truth? Boyd Lake, just like every college quarterback, Shedeur will need to adapt to the NFL timing. All I know is BYU and Jay Hill shut him down. Well, you were also talking about a bowl game. And yeah, I think bowl games are, People don't like people who have daddy issues. Who's got a daddy issue? What do you mean by that? That awkward guy. Cleveland is always going to be Cleveland. Yes, they will. Nick's Chubb. Nice one, Jake. That's mine.
You're welcome.
I'm the one who came
That's
up with Nick's
Montyism.
Chubb.
That's
Come
a
on.
Montyism.
Jeremiah Champion, afternoon to you, sir. Good to see you as always. Once you use the race card, you automatically lose. It's okay. So you don't think race played any role in the belief systems that were put out on Shador Sanders? Because remember, he celebrated too much. He was too flashy. All of the Deion stuff.
Why wasn't Jackson Dart getting a bunch of flack for his private jet deals and his car deals and everything he was doing?
Because they weren't winning, and they weren't on national TV like Colorado was. And your dad's not Deion Sanders. And at no time has Deion said that, he's going to go and coach wherever Shador gets drafted. Like the hate around this and the idea that race played no role in the beliefs that were formed around Shador Sanders is wild to me. It's crazy. At this rate, Shador might win a Super Bowl before Monty stops coughing. This is true.
True. Yeah.
I would take that bet. The agent makes you look good all the time.
Yeah,
Seriously.
the agent is the guy who gives you the answers to the test and the process. So he tells you what to expect and puts you in a position to succeed. And I completely agree. Not having an agent is silly. Like, I don't know what you're doing.
Jake might be proof that genetics and nepotism have a downside, but Shador isn't proof of that. True. That was a nepotism. You're only here because you. Okay. That awkward guy. I was honestly super surprised Jerry Jones didn't draft him. I think Jerry's got far bigger issues than Dak's backup. I mean, their cap is so tight in Dallas.
Yeah.
And I don't know. And I think they had a
rough.
good draft. I think they had a really good draft.
Yeah.
If we're being honest. The only good to come out of Cleveland is the Drew Carey show. You mean Price is Right? Because he's the host of Price is Right. You guys remember when the Drew Carey show came out, how wildly popular it was? Like, I can't remember the name of the sketch comedy show he was on. Oh, my God. Whose line is it anyways? I think it was. Drew Carey's so wildly talented. The Kansas City Chiefs are double-decker scumbags, and I hate everything about the Kansas City Chiefs. The barbecue and terrible traffic. I totally agree with that.
Okay.
Now you hate him. You hate him because you're a Bills fan. I hate him because,
Yeah.
Dylan Raiola. Okay. Stadium guy James, I did not pull a BDM. The Mavs just need to get their guys healthy. What does that mean? Pull a BDM.
Yeah. What do you mean by that?
They proved during the first game that AD played that when he's healthy, he's a monster. Where is this coming from in the middle of a football conversation? I have no idea.
Maybe he's responding to someone. I don't know.
What do you guys do with this Bill Belichick story, by the way? Just when you think it couldn't get worse. And if you weren't here yesterday, we talked all about it. Bill Belichick and this girlfriend of his and the frustration with her interrupting a CBS News interview with the hoodie.
The other change for Belichick is 24-year-old Jordan Hudson, his creative muse, as he writes in his book.
Make sure that that's the...
Jordan was a constant presence during our interview.
You have Jordan right over there. Everybody in the world seems to be following this relationship. They've got an opinion about your private life. It's got nothing to do with them, but they're invested in it. How do you deal with that?
Never been too worried about what everybody else thinks. Just try to do what I feel like is best for me and what's right.
How did you guys meet?
Not talking about this.
No?
No.
It's a topic neither one of them is comfortable commenting on.
Why not? Okay. So now we don't know. We don't know from that same interview, him talking about, hey, it was a mutual parting. No, you got fired. Okay, cool. All of this controversy all of the stuff surrounding, Belichick and his girlfriend. And now this new story about Jordan Hudson, the one that they were doing like aerobic stuff and lifting and stuff on the beach.
Yeah, I
and
mean, they're one step away from rolling around on the pad,
He hook, line, and sinkered his mermaid on the beach. This only after he autographed the book on the airplane where they met while he was still in another relationship.
The ink isn't dry yet.
All this good stuff that now rolls into a story about how Jordan Hudson has $8 million in property. $8 million.
Yeah, I'm not talking about that.
Do you believe that, because you're really kind of riled about this story, much more than I am. I don't happen to think this is that big of a deal. I mean, she's allowed to own real estate. But do you think he paid for it?
Yes. Yes, I do. I think that it has nothing to do with her right to own real estate. It has everything to do with how she came into money after being a cheerleader to own $8 million in real estate or $9 million in real estate. That level of money is extremely questionable. And, if she legitimately made that money, good for her. I have no problem with that. But the problem is, I don't believe for a second you legitimately made that money. I believe, as I said yesterday, I think there is a whole backstory to this that the public knows nothing about. I think that Bill Belichick, obviously went through the divorce. These two met well before that, obviously. And I believe everything we're starting to see connects the dots. Hey, went through the divorce. Who knows why you got divorced, right? Obviously, that's not public information.
And nobody's saying the two are related.
Nobody's saying the two are related, but it's hard to run from it at this point. Got to say, it's really hard to run from it because what doesn't make sense to me, or actually what does make sense to me, is hey, you go to UNC to be the head coach. Homegirl's running all over the field. Now we've got her, interrupting this CBS interview. And now you've put out a statement saying that she's both a personal and professional relationship, only for that to be followed up by, you saying that it's the media's fault and it was a cordial 35-minute conversation that CBS made look hostile, only for that to then additionally be followed up by the story coming out that your girlfriend somehow is able to afford $8 or $9 million in real estate. To which I say, okay, this seems awfully convenient because homegirl wasn't a real estate mogul before she met you. Like, what are we doing?
From the New York Post, Bill Belichick's spry girlfriend, Jordan Hudson, has amassed a New England real estate portfolio worth $8 million. All within months of the fisherman's daughter meeting 73-year-old ex-Patriots coach. Hudson, 24, bought 3 multifamily homes across the Boston area in December of 2023 for $7.5 million, inking millions of dollars in mortgage agreements within days, according to Realtor.com. Just 2 months earlier, Hudson dropped $610,000 on a cottage in scenic Cape Cod town of Harwich, which she listed as her home address in mortgage documents, meaning it's her primary residence. And I would agree, she doesn't seem, on paper anyway, to have the means to knock down millions of dollars in mortgages every month.
I want to know how this relationship came to be, because it didn't come to be on a plane. That's not how this happened, in my opinion.
Well, maybe they just met on that plane. And then she got her hooks into him. And maybe it's a business arrangement, right? You let me, go fishing in your ocean and I'll buy you property. Keep the media off my back. I'll put some other stuff on your back. Like maybe that's the relationship
I'm not talking about
that they have. Right? Maybe
macaque.
Maybe she is his muse. Maybe she is what keeps him young. I don't know. Maybe, the conversation I don't know what she said to him.
Anita, Dick, and Ming.
I don't know.
I mean, that could have possibly been said.
But why do we care about this so much? That's the legitimate question.
You have never come along with the idea that it matters because of who they are. Like, how do we not care? I'm just supposed to not talk about this?
No, I'm not saying not to talk about it. I'm fascinated why, and maybe you guys can tell me, but I'm fascinated as to why people are so obsessed with Bill Belichick and this girl.
Because it doesn't add up. That's why. Because if it was Bill Belichick and someone his age and they had gotten married and then it comes out that the blossoming couple, the newlyweds, are amassing wealth, real estate wealth in the greater New England area. Great, dude. Awesome. You're a college football coach. Your wife is happy. You have prosperous real estate investments. The problem is I can't do that, bro, because the relationship looks like crap right now. Right? Like
You're not wrong.
She rolls into the interview, is a problem in the interview. And no. Allegedly rolls into the interview, and is a problem during the interview. And sorry, I'm not giving Bill Belichick and his girlfriend the benefit of the doubt. Sorry, I'm going to go with CBS News' reporting on what actually happened because we know how people are. Someone was a pain in the ass who was part of the party of the person being interviewed. This wouldn't be the first time. It's like we know how people are. So I'm not giving Jordan Hudson the benefit of the doubt. You're anything but transparent about who you are, how this relationship came to be, and how it is that you convinced Bill Belichick, one of the greatest football coaches of all time and one of the best hard asses in the NFL we've ever seen, to now be a softie who lets you basically run his life.
Well, her grass, I'm assuming, is very plush.
It damn well better be.
You guys, I say this about every sexual relationship we talk about. Tommy and Jizzy, the jujitsu expert, pick your relationship. I don't care why two people choose to be together.
Cock-a-doodle-doo.
I find it absurd that we're talking about, should North Carolina fire him? This is not a Trevor Bauer thing. This is not a Shannon Sharp thing.
Do you agree that it's not a great story in terms of representing UNC? Because the reality is he's sitting there as Bill Belichick and the head coach of UNC football.
Yeah, I don't love that they were on the field, getting naked together. Their clothes were on, but I don't.
Because what is this?
I don't love that they were on the field and she was running around spring practice. I would agree with that.
Her running around spring practice has massive shades of who? Oh, that's right. The last guy who did this, Ed Ogeron at LSU.
And he got fired.
Now, I agree. Bill should not be fired for this. No way, right? Bill Belichick is a million times more accomplished than Ed Ogeron. Bill Belichick has done more things in football than Ed O will ever do. And you're not firing Bill Belichick on a whim. I don't even think he's anywhere near being fired. I think this is a hey, Bill, can you rein in your girlfriend a little bit? We need to kind of control the narrative here. You need to represent the school a little better. I know you're the new kid on the block in the college scene. It's all good, bro. We just need to kind of reel this in a little bit. That's what this is as far as UNC is concerned, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think this is much to do about nothing. And if you are not friends with Bill, like Charles Barkley saying he's concerned, so he's going to reach out, shut up. Yeah, because Bill Belichick's going to open up to you, Chuck.
You don't think there's any reason to be concerned?
Not from it's none of my business. Right? I think these things. How many other rich multimillionaires are getting swindled by young women?
I don't know, because typically it's private because they're not the head coach of UNC.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
I
agree. You can't have it both ways. You can't make all the money and be the greatest. And then when you wind up, parking the car in the wrong garage, you don't want to be asked about it. Well, you're going to be asked about it.
Yeah. And I think that, I guess I'm just surprised that it's not something that Like, I'm all in on this story. I think this is fascinating that a guy who behaved and went about it the way he did in New England is now in this position. I can't get over that fact.
Oh, it's surprising that Bill Belichick apparently has found himself in a place where he may have potentially, allegedly, the inference is being made, he may have bought a woman $8 to $9 million in real estate.
Yeah, we're focused on the Jets today.
But it's his money. Now, I'm surprised because he seems like such a hard ass as a football coach, but he's not that way in real life. You know, I mean, when you have a guy like Bill Belichick who is dating a much younger woman, and Bill is fully prepared to show his nipples, I mean, who can question his sanity at that point?
What a stupid son of a bitch.
We probably should. If I were a close friend, I'd be concerned. I would agree with that. Sergeant Morhew for $5. Only way to make Bill drama better is to make him the Pac-12 commissioner. I've heard that job is not open. Joseph Harper for $5. To Bill, sorry for what you're going through, but glad they're not talking about me. Signed, Shannon Sharp.
Hey, see, now that's a good take right there, bro. You
That is a very good take.
Notice the Shannon, big black guy beats small white woman story went away pretty quick.
I mean, yeah.
I don't know, dude. My biggest concern here is he didn't buy her real estate because he wanted to.
You don't know that he bought her real estate.
Right, but that's my point. That's why this is a story, because we don't know what's going on.
Well,
it looks like you met this woman before you got divorced.
Right, so it appears.
Yeah.
He bought it. It appears.
Yeah.
He bought her real estate. There's no facts out there that says he bought her this real estate or she bought this real estate with his money. That's not fact.
Right.
And I think it's important that we be accurate about that. It's not fact.
Right.
It is, to me, it's none of our business it's none of our business what Bill Belichick does with his money. It just isn't. And I know you want to know. It's none of our business.
No, it's yeah. I am shocked that we disagree on this. I'm incredibly shocked that that's your stance. The dude has made it our business. The dude has made it public that he's in a relationship with this woman after you posted on Instagram and then you took the job and she was on the field. Like you've pushed this into the public spotlight. If you didn't want people asking questions, she should have never seen the light of day on your social media.
Yeah, now that's a conversation we can have. You should have, Bill Belichick should have reined her in, but he didn't. And I agree. Those are all talking points. The idea that somebody is digging up her real estate records, trying to figure out if he paid for them, that to me is over the line. It's none of our business. There's no inference or evidence that there was, malfeasance, fraud, crime. So why do we care? That I can't.
We care because it's way out of character for Bill Belichick. That's why.
Well, I look at the Trevor Bauer situation.
Mm-hmm.
That's something we should care about. That's one of the highest paid players in baseball, allegedly, and then later being proven not to have sexually assaulted a woman.
Mm-hmm. So that's our business.
But if we cared so much,
yeah,
why is he still pitching in Japan and not in the United States? Because we only care while it's hot on the front stove burner.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And the biggest difference is there was criminality and heinous moral crimes committed, allegedly. And then but we're not willing to do anything to try and make it, right for Trevor Bauer. But with Bill Belichick, we're just trying to figure out, and the newspapers are doing a whole lot of hard work trying to figure out if she stole money from him to buy property, allegedly. Come on. I just think we're all up in their business, and there's just no reason for us to be there. If you're his son-in-law, I think, is on the record saying, "Hey, this is ridiculous," or okay, I totally get that. His kids, okay, I totally get that. His former players, okay, I totally get that. UNC's athletic director, Bubba Cunningham, can't be necking with this girl in the end zone. Can't be making out with her. Okay, totally get that.
And I was going to say, that's the clear difference, right, between the Bauer stuff and this stuff. Is that the Bauer stuff, they were pretty similar in age, and that was just more of a, hey, what happened here type thing.
Yeah, he banged a Padre fan who tried to turn it into sexual assault.
Yeah, this is, hey, one, and again, for the record, and I've said this many times, I don't believe Bill has lost his facilities and somehow is not, like, I don't believe that. The difference is that from an optics standpoint, this looks horrible for Bill Belichick. This does not look good for Bill Belichick.
Stadium guy James, I care about this because it feels like she's manipulating him with her looks. She has him tied around her little finger, and she has the potential to milk his finances dry. These are all assumptions. There's no evidence she's milking his finances dry.
Right, but you keep asking why we're interested in it. We don't need evidence. Nobody gives a damn about that. They care about the optics.
We're interested in it because he's 73 and she's like not 73.
Yeah.
And he's pounding box that you would love to get.
Mm-hmm.
And you're like, well, damn. I don't know. Maybe I should be more compelled by it. Maybe I should be. I'm not the jealous type. I say, go get it, Stephen A. Shannon Sharp, you want a $100 million podcast deal? Yeah, probably shouldn't have said the things you said on that recording allegedly.
But like Shannon Sharp is right up the same alley. Right?
No, Shannon Sharp, it's being alleged that he choked a woman. And it's being alleged on tape that, and again, Shannon's never denied that's his voice. I think that's really important. We hear his voice allegedly saying, I'll choke you in public. Those are crimes. There's been no crime committed with Bill
How do you
Belichick.
know? You don't have evidence.
But right, but
there's not even crimes being committed.
There's not even the allegation that crimes are being committed. Have you seen an allegation where she is alleged to have, like with this real estate stuff, did she sign his name on a contract? No, the homes are in her name. Like, I don't know. I think sometimes we feel so entitled because famous people are involved. You know, it makes perfect sense, Monty. He gets divorced and tells his ex, F you, I can get a hot chick. It's just to make his ex-wife jealous. Maybe. BYU football, more power to him to land a 24-year-old who really gives an F. Sounds like she's got a good head on her shoulders. Sounds like she's a business person, not a good publicist or a COO, in my opinion, as she puts it. You know. North Carolina needs to put their foot down and say she's not allowed at practice. She is a distraction. She does not belong there. Maybe that's what they need to do.
But again, this is the problem. This is my point. North Carolina shouldn't have to get involved. This is premise. The dude is distracted. The dude took a job and now his girlfriend's in the middle of every single thing he's doing. It's a problem. She is
her interfering with Hard Knocks at North Carolina. If that's true, and it's alleged that she is a big reason why Hard Knocks is not coming to Chapel Hill. Okay, I got a problem with that. Let the football people football, lady, and get out of the way. You're not a football person. You don't work in football. None of that.
Like, what are they? And again, allegedly, not factual. We don't have evidence. What are they so worried about?
But that's
with Hard Knocks.
Wait.
Like,
guys, it's really important that we don't guess that a crime has been committed without even an allegation or a hint of illegality. That's not like just some little thing. If you believe that this woman's committed a crime and you have no evidence and you have no hint of illegality, you're wrecking her character. Now, you don't like that she's all up in his CBS business? Okay, I'm good. Let's talk about that. I'm never going to sit here and tell you that she committed a crime because I have no reason to believe she has. The Hard Knocks thing, if those reports are true, and those reports are all over the place, that Jordan Hudson, Bill Belichick's girlfriend, interfered with the process of getting Hard Knocks on campus at North Carolina, I'm disappointed in that. I'm disappointed in North Carolina and Bill Belichick for letting that happen if they wanted Hard Knocks there. Because I have a hard time believing Bill Belichick wants cameras all over him. He's never been that guy.
I agree.
So I just think we need to be careful convicting people who, and sentencing them when they haven't even been.
I'm not saying she's guilty. What I'm saying and what we disagree about, I disagree on behavior of Bill Belichick alone, that there's nothing here. I disagree. Bill Belichick has never been this dude. This dude never bought millions of dollars in real estate and never.
But you don't know that.
Okay. Well,
I don't know his real estate portfolio. But I think it's also important to say, has he bought millions of dollars in real estate? No. Again, look at the article. Why are you so convinced that he's the one buying this property?
Because she doesn't have that money.
That we know of.
Trust me, if she had that kind of money, you would know about it. Because in our world, when someone has money and they're 24 years old, what do we say?
I think you would know about it. I just don't see that we're in a position where I don't see anybody saying in this article that, yeah, she's stealing Bill's money. I don't see that. I don't see it anywhere, right? Like, and if you go to realtor.com and you look at the stuff that she's alleged to have, she bought multifamily investment properties in Dorchester, right? She took a $1.2 million mortgage on a nearby 3-unit townhouse, having paid $2.2 million for the dwelling. Property records indicate that Hudson took a $1.2 million mortgage on a $2.3 million 3-unit townhouse in Dorchester on December 1st, 2023. Dorchester. I just want to say that. I don't know. I am skeptical. That is for certain. I am skeptical. I mean, you're talking about Hudson purchasing a 3-family dwelling in Roxbury, a Crossing neighborhood of Boston, paying $3 million for the expansive building on top of the other units, and then purchased her multifamily home. She paid $610,000 for the 2-bedroom cottage in Harwich. Right? I mean, when it was listed, the description noted that all 3 units were leased in August 2024, generating $17,675 a month. It's an income generating property. Congratulations. We all should be owning those. I don't know. I'm not willing to get crazy about it. If he wants to spend his $10 million North Carolina salary on buying her property, I just don't care that much. If that's the price he's paying to have sex with a 24-year-old, dude.
It's a heavy price.
That's expensive. That's some expensive sex. There's no doubt about it. Yeah, but you still choose whether or not you care about the situation or not. It's just not our business. I agree with that. What I hate is that we take celebrities, put them in very regular situations, and try to find problems with that regular situation.
Explain to me how this is a regular situation. How is this at all a regular situation?
An American buying multiple income generating properties that are making tens of thousands of dollars a month is not irregular in any way, shape, or form. I have never seen her tax return or W-2s. I have no idea what kind of wealth she has. And let's be real honest. If this woman got into a relationship with a guy who had the means to buy a real estate portfolio, is that irregular?
No, that's not irregular.
I just don't see anything that's really outlandish. Now, do you want to say that she's using him for his money? Okay, you want to argue that? I could argue that. What is a 20? And I asked the same thing about Al Pacino. What does a 73-year-old man have in common with a 24-year-old woman? What are you guys talking about at night?
Nothing, because you're probably not sleeping in the same room.
Wow, you're just convinced.
Yeah.
You don't
I
think
am.
they're sleeping in the same room?
I don't think it's a romantic thing. I think it's a facade. I think that
So
that
this is a total
facade.
beard.
Yes, I think that Bill Belichick, probably enjoys her, and I don't blame him for that. Great, there's not a problem with that. What the issue is that this wouldn't be a story if she wasn't intertwined in every little thing you're doing. She's at the CBS interview. She's at practice.
Right, but he wants that.
Well,
do you know how I know he wants that? Because he's allowing it to happen. Did he step in during the CBS News interview and say, hey, sweetheart, take it easy? No. Did he ask her not to be on the field at North Carolina? No. In fact, he was romantically engaged with her on the field for that kiss.
Yeah. Yeah. We're just in a different place with it, and it's fine.
Is she putting a gun to his head behind the scenes? I have no idea. But that's crazy that you think it's just they don't have sex, they don't sleep in the same room.
Oh no,
there's no relationship.
I think they have sex. I think they're not romantic. I love you. We're gonna get married forever type partners. I think that it's an arrangement. I think it's a relationship of sorts.
You think this right here is Travis Shamockery?
Yeah, she's his publicist. They got to make it look good. Right?
That is so wildly out of Bill Belichick's comfort zone.
Right, and that's why I have questions.
Yeah,
this is not who Bill Belichick is.
But I think this is not the Bill Belichick that you think you know.
Okay, well.
I think Bill Belichick probably is a completely different person than any of us believe him to be. And if listen again, you can't tell me that he's doing this so that he can say he has a 24-year-old girlfriend. That doesn't look like, I have a 24-year-old girlfriend that's just arm candy and she sleeps downstairs, I sleep upstairs. I just don't think that. I believe that Bill Belichick probably is in love with this woman. And I think it is a very common occurrence in these situations. I work with somebody who is in a very similar relationship and does not try to hide the fact that, hey, I'm only in this for the money. That exists in the world.
Mm-hmm.
The money and men. We've talked about this. Was Bill Clinton in love in any way, shape, or form with Monica Lewinsky? No. But I look at Bill Belichick and I say to myself, 73, I met this hot chick on a plane. She showed me some affection and some attention. I'm going to break up with my longtime girlfriend and I'm going to start, slogging around in the mud with this chick. And let's say she is a gold digger. Let's say that, what I mean by that is, if you believe she doesn't love Bill Belichick, he loves her. What's not to love? She's a Ferrari. She's amazing. She's hot, smart, intellectual. He loves her. And I think, let's get really outlandish. Maybe she loves him too. But we're so convinced she's committing nefarious crimes and buying real estate with his money. And can we at least have her accused of fraud first before we start believing it happened?
Yeah. Yeah.
Kim Coulter in love or in lust? Maybe one, maybe the other, maybe both. Absolutely. BYU football, Jake, you're starting to sound like you're jealous. No. It's not a jealous thing.
It's got nothing to do with jealousy, dude.
I think there's a certain sect of society, and Jake, I think, fits into this, who just can't fathom that she loves him and this is truly a romance. There's just no way. She's this unbelievably hot piece of ass. He's a 73-year-old windbag. There's no way. Stranger things have happened. Look at what was the blonde supermodel lady and the old man and you guys remember that? And the oil money and stranger things have happened. Absolutely. We get the news we consume. Society cares more about Bill and some chick with boobs more than football. Ain't that the truth? Bill needs to learn to not get put in these situations. Truth. I agree with that. But Monica loved Bill. She loved Bill. I mean, God damn, she loved Bill. Danny Kiger. I bet in the bedroom, Bill wears a dog collar that has a tag that reads Jake. Wow.
Yeah, sure.
You just seem pissed off about it.
Yeah, because it's not a ridiculous assertion. Bill Clinton and Monica Lewinsky is an awful comparison to Bill Belichick and Jordan Hudson.
No, they're two totally different people from two totally different backgrounds who seemingly have nothing in common.
Yeah.
Other than he was the president, she was an intern, she had googly eyes, and he just wanted to smoke 'em peace pipe.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's all he wanted.
Mm-hmm.
In this situation, what's the smoke 'em peace pipe? It's alleged in the terms of this conversation that it's Bill Belichick's cash to buy real estate, which I just think is a huge stretch.
But it's not just the money for the real estate. Like I don't know. Maybe I'm just not good at articulating or painting this picture.
Yeah, she's a huge pain in the ass. I would agree. Does she seem like a nice girl who's just trying to help an old man out? No,
but
she doesn't. She seems overbearing and heavy-handed.
Yeah, because she's involved in everything. I didn't wake up 2 weeks ago. I'm like, man, wow, let's look into Bill Belichick's personal relationships. That's not what happened here.
She referred to herself as the COO of his production company.
And he referred to her as a personal relationship and a professional relationship.
Yes.
But my point is that we're all sitting here talking about like it's none of our business. They've made it our business.
And I don't even disagree with that.
You're out on the football field. You're at the interview. You're everywhere.
Everything that is public facing is up for debate. You went to this interview, and again, I would point out, and we talked about this yesterday.
Yeah.
And people in the comment section disagreed with me on this. Admittedly, I'm no fashionista.
Uh-huh.
But are you telling me in this interview that this woman's wearing pants?
The other change for Belichick is 24-year-old Jordan Hudson, his creative muse, as he writes in his book.
Make sure that that's the...
Jordan was a constant presence during our interview.
She's probably wearing pants.
Jordan,
but why are you
over
wearing
there.
that ridiculous sweatshirt? That's unprofessional. So I am with you 100%. Is she overbearing? Yes. Is she heavy-handed? Apparently. Is she a pain in the ass? Yeah, in my opinion, she's a big pain in the ass. But Bill put her on Instagram. Bill rode next to her on an airplane. Bill brought her to the CBS interview. Bill brought her to the North Carolina
so here's
football.
My question. With all of that, and this is my point, you're telling me that a guy for, I mean, how long? How long was he in the league? Like 30 years? Whatever? How
like
long?
50 years.
50 years, right? You know, football obsessed, about the process, in the facility every day, about his craft, right? Like, that's who we knew
Not
this
Bob
guy.
Kraft.
Yeah, right. About his craft. That's who we knew this guy to be. So then he leaves the Patriots. This relationship comes about. And again, if we're going to sit here and question motives, this relationship wasn't a problem when you were just on Instagram and like we poked
when you
fun
were
at
unemployed.
it. Yeah, it wasn't a big deal. We were like, yeah, dude's retired. He's out here smashing. It's not a problem, dude.
You
What's
want to
the
drive
problem,
a Ferrari? Drive a
Yeah,
Ferrari, my
cool.
guy.
Like, I didn't have a problem with it, but you part company with me when it's gone from, oh, cute little girlfriend story. We're just going to look past her age and that whole thing. Not a big deal. You leave that stage of the conversation when we start talking about her being your publicist and you showing
the COO of his production company.
That you like, and again, I'm more again for the record, I'm more concerned about the personality and character changes Bill has gone through here. It's not just about the money. This guy, I've never seen Bill Belichick in a ripped up Navy crew neck for an interview, dude.
He routinely wears stuff like that. My point is, a book publicist and a publisher and a PR firm and an agent, he'd have been wearing North Carolina colors.
Like,
he'd have been wearing school gear, right? That's a PR opportunity for the school. Well, we're here to talk about the book, Monty. Well, I totally understand that, but you're always recruiting when you're a college football coach.
Yeah.
Right. So now, admittedly, he's got Michael Lombardi and an unbelievable administrative staff at North Carolina running football things for him. So it's not like football, he's derelict in his football duties. I don't know. I'm just not willing to go and reach for the criminality part of this. Gold digger, only in it for the money, Okay, cool.
So just to be clear,
he needs Cialis so he can get back on the horse. Maybe
we can question motives, and I'm genuinely asking. It's okay to question motives, and
do you think she's in love with him? Do you think it's real? Okay, I'm good with that. Did she steal his money or commit fraud to buy real estate? Nah, I'm not okay with that because there is zero evidence of that. There is not even an allegation of that. Now, about this real estate, did Bill Belichick provide her the money to buy those homes? Sure.
And more to that
Maybe
point,
he did.
I think it's not just if he provided her the money, cool. I don't even care about that per se. That's fine. That's his choice. It's his money. The point is more, does she have such a grip on him? Is she influencing him, manipulating him? Is he off his rocker in this relationship, if you will? Like that's the nuts
drunk?
And bolts, dude.
Is he drunk?
Yeah.
On the essence of her sex.
Yes. That's what I'm saying.
Is her aroma intoxicating to Bill Belichick?
And by the way, I have to say, let me be the asshole. She's an awful publicist. Can
Terrible.
I just say that?
Okay,
you're an awful
I'm with
publicist.
You're not good at. You're not the story.
And I'm good if you don't, for this interview, if you didn't want to wear UNC colors and have UNC have a presence, if you will. But really, that's how Bill is going to represent himself with CBS. We're not talking about TMZ here, bro.
We're talking about CBS.
Jesus.
We're not talking
dude.
about TNT.
This is a professional setting here, man.
Oh my God. Let's get some comments. I think she is with him for sparkling personality. We're on to Cincinnati.
Yeah, I'm sure that's what sold her,
Yeah, we're focused on the Jets today. We're on to Cincinnati.
I will say their personality types seem to meld together very well. I would agree with that. Jeremiah Champion. BYU? No. Okay. Big Daddy Magic. Bill wasn't smoking peace pipe. It was the cigar. Okay. Jake's got a legit point. I think he does have a legit point. I just think sometimes we all go too far. And I'm not willing to accuse this woman of anything illegal. I'm not willing to wonder or bandy about illegalities until at least one is leveled against her. I'm just not willing to go there. Love makes men do stupid things all the time. Did he buy her $9 million in property? Maybe. Did he put him in her name? Could be. Don't know, don't care. She's got loans, apparently, according to the Post, right? If he gave her the money, he didn't pay cash. Hudson bought $3 million family home across from Boston area. There's $7.5 million, inking millions of dollars in mortgage agreements within days.
Yeah, you wouldn't want to pay cash for those,
right?
There's no point to do that.
No, not when it's revenue generating
property. Yeah.
And that's my point. If they're in love, and I don't know if they are or not, but they're in love. He's amassing wealth, generational wealth. Maybe they're going to have kids. He's 73. She's 24. She's probably going to be in her 40s when he kicks. She needs something to take care of her for the rest of her life. How about some revenue generating properties in Boston, Dorchester?
But again,
that makes sense to me.
Let me make the obvious point. We wouldn't have to ask questions if y'all were married, because then it's a different thing.
Well, listen, until you guys get married, you can't sleep in the same room. Not in my house. Come on, man. Come on. She definitely thinks Five Guys makes good burgers. That's a good woman right there. Johnny Gonzalez, no pants, no beginning of a relationship questions. Big problem. Hey, okay, since we can't talk about where you guys met, ma'am, can you tell me why you don't have any pants on? We're not talking about that.
I'm not talking about that.
We're on the Dorchester. Chewy Gonzalez, if a young guy was dating an old chick, we wouldn't blink an eye. Just look at Zach Milfson. Don't disagree.
Mm-hmm.
If Bill Belichick was 24 and Jordan Hudson was 73, oh, Cougar, he got an older woman.
Yes.
But because the woman's younger and she must be a gold digger, which I don't think is true. Jeff Woodworth, it's easier to recruit when your young, hot girlfriend is at practice with no pants on. I'd play there. On which field would you play, sir?
With all due respect.
Jeff Woodworth says Martha Stewart. You think there's a comparison? She does like Big Daddy Magic. It's called He's Whipped by This Woman. Her aroma is amazing.
Yummy, yummy, yummy.
You take a whiff of that and then say no. She's likely an awful person as well. What?
Okay, see, again, you can criticize me. I never said she was an awful person.
How is she likely an awful person? Johnny Gonzalez nailed it, and she posts thirsty photos on Insta. Martha Stewart of college football, the hoodie. Well, there you go. There you go. You know, I don't know.
I hope it doesn't go sideways. I hope they ride off into the sunset and make millions and everything works out.
Yeah. Bryce Martin, I don't know how that man makes it another 10, 15 years, Bob. Dude, his heart can only...
Let's ride.
She's 24. Dude, let me just tell you something, man. You put used tires on that Ferrari.
Hot ass.
And you're up against the clock there, sir. How long until Bill blows a gasket driving that Ferrari?
Perhaps play a little game called Just a Tip.
Yeah, maybe Bill, just take it easy. Just not all of it. Probably move on. Now Monty, she's only there to replace Bill's batteries when he goes offline.
Well said.
Listen, if you're going to be the CEO of my production company, can you at least monitor my pacemaker? Hey, I watched the pit. I know how those pacemakers work. Bryce Martin, he's up. His players have to wonder what in the world is happening. They got to wonder what is happening right now. And if he's engaged, totally agree with that. Is he all in? Could be. Is he all out? Probably.
Cashless.
Is Bill in a tight spot?
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I thought you just asked the question if Bill was in a, quote, tight spot.
Hey. This is what I do on a daily basis. All right, the Monty Show is always presented by our good friends at The Advocates. TheAdvocates.com. Have you abandoned McDonald's and Starbucks? It kind of sounds like you did. We'll tell you why in 30 seconds.
You're not just a case. You're not just a client. You're a person, and you deserve support. You deserve simplicity. You deserve communication. When you hire an attorney, you deserve clear, risk-free advice that guides you to the best possible outcome in your injury case. And that's exactly what the Advocates have been providing for over 30 years. After your accident, you deserve closure. You deserve compassion. You deserve peace of mind. You deserve an advocate.
Yes, you do. Find one at theadvocates.com. 24/7, 365. You've been in an accident, a car accident. You got hit by a big rig maybe on the road. If you're out on your bicycle or your motorcycle, you know cars don't pay attention. You need clear, risk-free advice from experienced legal professionals. That's what you get at The Advocates. There's nothing they haven't seen. There's no fight that they have not fought. They are ready, willing, and certainly able to help you today at theadvocates.com. Chat with an injury attorney live online, and it won't cost you a dime at theadvocates.com. Okay. McDonald's and Starbucks are struggling. Jake, do you eat less fast food now than you have in the past?
Yeah, I mean, I try not to eat as much, Chipotle once in a while. Try to stay away from it.
Chipotle.
Yeah.
We had Chipotle for lunch today. McDonald's is reporting its quarterly sales for Q1 of the new year, and the numbers were not good. According to NBC News, the fast food corporation saw same-store sales fall 4%, the worst drop since plummeting 8.7% in Q2 2020, otherwise known as the coronavirus, which was the height of the pandemic.
The coronavirus.
Here was the shocking thing, though. One of the people on the investor call where this was all announced said, quote, "We've seen an increase in people in various markets, different countries. I don't know, like Canada, eh? Saying they're not going to be shopping at American brands.
U.S. Americans.
You know, like McDonald's and Starbucks. McDonald's says it hasn't noticed its own brand in particular being docked by anti-American sentiment, but the reported findings are worth keeping an eye on, according to the corporation." Do you guys believe that multinational corporations like Starbucks and McDonald's are going to suffer because of anti-American sentiment?
I have no interest in getting into a pro or anti Donald Trump conversation today. But the reality is yeah, American sentiment's not great right now. And I don't know if companies of this stature and this size will in the real world actually see, legitimate, quarter long, half a year long impact. I don't know.
I think it's absolutely real. I think when you look at McDonald's, several things have happened. I think we've talked about this ad nauseum on the show. Fast food has gotten really expensive because we've had all this stuff where we had to pay more. Coming out of the pandemic, nobody wanted to work in fast food. So wages went up to reattract the workforce. You're never going to cut those wages. So that's a stagnant cost now. The price of everything from eggs, milk, and beef is has been high since the pandemic, and in the first quarter of the year got even higher. Like, you have all of this stuff rolling downhill, and the people at the bottom of the hill are the Del Tacos, which is owned by Jack in the Box, who now is looking for a buyer reportedly for the Del Taco chain because the profits are lower. I think it's a really difficult time. And now I also think an even bigger factor, dude, I think fast food is terrible for you. If you're going to McDonald's and you're eating burgers and fries and nuggets, you're not eating healthily, right? If you're eating fast food burgers on the regular basis, you're not eating healthily. I think this is a huge problem. And then I go look at Starbucks and I say, you want to talk about expensive? Who can afford to go to Starbucks every morning on their way to the office?
Not the average American.
Who's in credit card debt, who has a massive mortgage payment, is likely behind on their car payment, which they're upside down on and paid too much for. Like, I think we're in this unique circumstance where not as many people can afford to go buy the venti mocha chai tea latte frappuccino.
Yeah.
Right? Like, it's too expensive. And so you pile all of this stuff together, and I think you get the common denominator of people have less money, they're tired of BS, and they're tired of paying $6 for what should be a 50-cent cheeseburger.
Yeah, and I think people are starting to understand the value of making food at home. I mean, the value of it. I mean, I think it's not a secret. It never really has been that I can go to Costco or just the regular grocery store and I can get, whatever your cup of tea is, right? Steaks, chickens, turkey, sausage, whatever it is, right? Like, whatever you like. I can get, 2 weeks worth of meat. I can get, probably 10 days worth of vegetables and make them last, in the fridge. Like, you can work with things, you can get, rice, you can get, whatever it is, right? Whatever you want to meal prep, you can do that in bulk and freeze what you're not ready to make. And ultimately that, let's call it $150 spend, right? On stuff to last you because I know people who spend anywhere between $150 to $200 for an entire month's worth of weekly meals. And then maybe they'll take their family out once a week on the weekend or something like that. It's kind of more up that alley. like $200 on food for a family of 4 is a really good number. Like that's affordable. That's, if you're a dual income household and you've got 2-3 kids and you're making 200 grand together, let's say, or let's say it's 150 grand, right? Together combined. Maybe it's less, right? But you can absorb the cost of $200 to cover your food for the week for your family. That's fine. But when you can't absorb the $7 cup of coffee every single morning for, 30 days straight, that's too much money on coffee, on something that's not super redeeming and enjoyable, an external cost. So I just think that, and I've been saying this for several weeks now, nobody is spending money on anything. Nobody, in my opinion, is going to go out and just spend a bunch of money on stuff. I do think you can still do car deals. I do think you can still do certain financial transactions, provided that you're in a strong financial position. Meaning, like you said, like you didn't buy the Hummer and you're 100 G's upside down.
Yeah.
Or like, you're in the, because again, those are the fundamentals financially that haven't changed. This isn't new if you're upside down on your car loan or not, right? Like that's not a new concept. We've been dealing with that for 100 years or whatever it's been. Like that's not new.
But think about Las Vegas. Did you guys see the story on Las Vegas? Las Vegas tourism is way down, way down. MGM Resorts is planning to shut down more underused amenities. That may include the spas in their lower tier properties like Luxor, New York. And they already closed the spa at Excalibur. Well, what did we find at Mandalay Bay when we were in Las Vegas for CES?
They had closed the buffet, and they closed that buffet during the pandemic. And I had never heard about that.
A lot of big resorts don't have buffets anymore.
Yeah.
Because they're cost prohibitive. MGM in their numbers say changes are in direct response to industry trends to better serve guests. It also raved about its partnership with Marriott on its Q1 earnings call and announced a $2 billion share buyback. That is the positive spin on things in Las Vegas. I just think Americans have less money, especially in the last year.
I think sentiment sucks. Like, let's be real. Like, honestly.
And then you look at this thing like with did you guys hear about the Ninja crock pots?
Do you guys have a crock pot or a pressure cooker?
I use an Instapot all the time.
Yeah.
I use an Instapot often. And what's interesting is there is outrage over this Instapot story. Over 1.8 million Ninja food pressure cookers are being voluntarily recalled because of potential burn hazards. The Consumer Product Safety Commission has received 106 reports of burn injuries, with over 50 of them reported to be second or third degree burns to the face.
Jesus. So what is the lid opening?
26 lawsuits have been filed. The recall impacts approximately 1.846 million Ninja Food OP300 multifunction pressure cookers. Oh. The Consumer Product Safety Commission and the recall states that the pressure cookers can open while in use.
Yeah.
Leading to hot contents leaking out and increasing the risk of burn.
Yeah, I can't do that, dude. That's dangerous.
Like, that's gnarly.
Yeah.
So I just think that as consumers, we're kind of getting it rolling downhill at us right now.
Yes.
And I don't eat at McDonald's ever. The only thing you will ever, if you see me at a McDonald's, it will be getting a McGriddle or a sausage and egg McMuffin.
Yeah, breakfast.
That's it. Right? Can you think of the last time we ate like a McDonald's burger?
Nah.
Last time I ate fast food on that level was at the Honolulu airport when I was flying to Hawaii. I was flying to Hawaii and having like an absolute meltdown.
Yeah.
Like I was feeling terrible. I had like whatever. I did not feel well. I went to Burger King. I got 2 cheeseburgers or 2 double cheeseburgers, and I got a white monster.
Golden.
Ate it. Felt way better. That's the last time I can say, well, we did have Del Taco for lunch the other day.
Yeah.
Right.
But we're talking about the last time we went to McDonald's.
I can't think of the last time I ate at a McDonald's.
And that's what I'm saying. Like, I just think that,
I just don't.
and I'm not placing blame anywhere. I'm just telling you guys what I see, right? From my perspective, in my day to day, in talking to people, overhearing conversations in a grocery store, like that kind of thing. Like, I just think people are tired, man. They're burned out. They are sick and tired of everything costing way too much and not being able to enjoy simple things in life anymore. And I keep saying this, but at some point, people are going to have to start making decisions for their kids. Meaning, I'm going to have to make a decision that says, hey, like, if I don't go and buy a house and some land and get set up here in the next 5 to 10 years, like, I'm not sure that that's ever going to be possible again because of what we're seeing, right? Corporate America buying up all the housing in our country, like costs of everything going up. Like, those are concerns that people have, man. Those are real. The tariff thing will come and go, right? Like, presidents will come and go. Politics will shift. It will come and go. And good times in our country will come and go. But the reality is there's these certain inherent staples in life that I feel like are going away, which would be like affordability and the opportunity to prosper. And that's what I think people are concerned about. And I think that, I think consumer sentiment right now is not good. And you can, if you want to look at it based on products, you want to look at it based on what foreign countries think of us or whatever. Like, I don't care what you look at. We're not in a time where if you walk up to a random person, you say, I have this thing. Do you want it? I've got lemonade. You want to buy it? Nah, actually, I'm going to hold on to my money, dude.
It's the China. It's buying Kobe's in China.
Yeah.
I think we're so tired. Tipping.
Great example.
I'm so tired of everybody asking me to tip.
Tired of it, dude.
Right? Like, it's funny. I was talking to my barber last night. You guys may have noticed. Your boy looking pretty fresh. Your boy got that Jay Taffa cut yesterday. But we were sitting there talking about the fact that I would like to move. Legitimately, I'd like to move. And I would move to Southern California. I would live in Florida for several years. Shit, I'd move back to Chicago for a year. Would love it. I'm not moving. My housing cost is $1,500 a month, and I have a 3% mortgage rate. So what's the only way that I can move? Well, I got to buy a second home, and I got to rent this one out. And we were talking about generational wealth. My barber has like 79 kids. So that's an exaggeration. It doesn't really,
79 might be a lot. But
he's got a gaggle of kids, and he's got a family, and the guy works like 2 jobs. He's a barber. He works for Delta Airlines. And we were saying, well, you have to build generational wealth. So if I sold this house and went and rented somewhere, who's paying the price for that? Well, I am, but my son is paying the price for that. Right? So if I want to move, I probably wind up renting this place that I live in now to my son, or selling it to him, buying a second home, because the real estate market is so upside down right now. And it's been that way for legitimately 7 years.
Yeah.
It has been that way since right before the pandemic kicked in. The housing market has just been so inflated.
And I have to say, again, and this is the sentiment conversation, again, not whether it's true or false or what's going to happen, but just the beliefs of people right now, how people feel emotionally. I don't think people are confident that 3% is ever going to exist again, honestly.
And it can't exist again. Let's make that very clear. We need 6% mortgages, because at 3%, it's not sustainable. Prices go way up because everybody can get approved. Like, what we can't do is go back to the 70s and 80s, 9, 10, 11% mortgage rates, right? We can't do that. We can't keep cutting the Fed rate, right? We can't make it so that everybody and their brother can afford a home, because not everybody should have a mortgage.
Mm-hmm.
And I think there's this belief system that everybody should have a mortgage. Well, I'm here to tell you, not everybody should have a mortgage. Not everybody, and we've talked about this before, not everybody should be a parent. Not everybody should drive a Porsche, because everybody ain't able.
Totally agree.
right? And
Totally agree.
I think when you look at the issues with fast food, what the main issue with fast food right now is that nobody wants to work a $10 an hour job anymore. That hasn't been the case for a decade.
But I think part of that is exactly what we're talking about. It doesn't make sense to work a $10 job an hour now.
When mortgage rates are at 7%.
But like that, and rents are through the roof. Like you can't afford a $10 an hour job, dude. You need to work your $10 an hour job, and then you need to grind your ass off on Amazon or something. Like you got to have a secondary flow of income to make it. And so that's why I say like radical things that used to be kind of radical or kind of like out of the box in terms of setting yourself up. I don't feel like in today's day and age and economic climate are any more radical. I think the concept of, hey, like my generation is not going to be able to buy a house unless you're willing to go and live in the sticks. I think that's true. Like, I think it's true that unless you have a job or like you got dual income or like maybe you do have the Amazon store thing or whatever, like you have that extra top line income, you can't afford 800,000, bro.
Here's the truth. You have to have courage. You have to have courage and you have to have creativity. That's how you're going to survive in this world, because it's no longer the case where I'm going to go to high school, then I'm going to go to a 4-year degree, then I'm going to get a job, then I'm going to meet the love of my life, and then I'm going to buy a house with a white picket fence, and I'm going to have 2 1/2 kids and a Labrador. And then we're going to live there forever and everything will be fine. That's no longer the case, because you can't afford to go to college. And if you're one of the lucky ones who can afford to go to college, now the employee pool is so huge, you better get a master's degree.
Right.
So now you're in more debt.
Yeah, that's facts.
Right?
Yeah.
And when you come out of college and you're in debt, you already were swimming upstream because of the housing market, the cost of money. You're probably in credit card debt. Like, it's just stacked against you right now. So now we gotta nut up and have some courage. Now we got to go and open an Amazon store. Now we got to go and get into that process and throw ourselves all into it. We have to be willing, and this is a huge thing with millennials and younger, we have to be willing to be alone, and we have to be brave enough to be alone until we meet the exact right person.
Right. Because
now your spousal partnership is more important than it has ever been at almost any time in the history of this country. You have to have a strong partner. You have to be willing to tell your mom to shut up at the Thanksgiving table because we're not having kids anytime soon. So stop asking. You have to be willing to have those hard conversations.
Because financially, it doesn't make sense.
You have to be willing to tell people, I'm trying to build something that isn't like you and not what you went through. So maybe you don't understand it. Right? And as parents, I'm 52 years old. I'm the parent of a 31-year-old. I have to be willing to say, okay, I'm going to support you in that. You want to go over here? And I know my belief system says what you're doing is wrong, but I'm going to pat you on the back and I'm going to support you. And if you happen to fail and fall down, I'm going to be here to give you a hand up. That's what it's going to take. And it's going to take not paying $500,000 for a $300,000 house.
Man, that's facts.
But for that to happen, we can't be charging people $5,000 a month in rent for something that should be $2,500. We can't have 50% markups on rent. And we got to stop building multi-million-dollar homes and start building affordable homes.
Facts.
But we're not willing to do that. So what do I go back to? You have to be brave. You have to have courage. You have to go and do it. You have to have vision. And you have to build these relationships with yourself that are really strong so you don't go to McDonald's and eat. So you don't cave and pay $9 for a cup of coffee at Starbucks. That you can get for $1 at the convenience store. Right? Why have I stopped buying shoes? Because I'm trying to build a business. I've got other priorities. Right? I'm trying to I own a timeshare. I'm a season ticket holder. I'm building that business. right? I'm trying to create multiple streams of revenue so that I'm not dependent on one. But that takes courage, and I have a phenomenal partner. If it were me, I'd be all in on investing in an Amazon store. But nobody around me wants to do that, and I'm not going to do it on my own, right? So I either say I'm going to do it on my own and piss off my wife, or I'm like, okay, my wife wanted to open a dog training business.
Mm-hmm.
I said, no, it's not the right time to rent retail space. It's one of the worst times in the history of commercial real estate.
Which I think is also a really interesting point. Like commercial real estate, like anything like that, where it's like, you know, you have that rental cost to operate whatever the business is. You know, like at what point does that come back into alignment cost wise? At what point do we say, hey, you know what, like that the American that's trying to start a business kind of needs that jolt forward, that little bit of an advantage, that little bit of help.
You don't want the answer to this question. Because what's the only way we kickstart small business in this country?
I don't know.
We lower the national debt.
Yeah, well.
What's the only way to lower the national debt? A lot of pain. A lot of people unemployed. A lot of people. It's what's the word you always use? Fugazi.
Yeah.
It's not real.
It's not real.
Lowering the national debt's not real. Whether you want it to be or not real. Right? So we're in this cycle now where I'll just keep going back. You need to be brave. Stop buying $500,000 houses that are only worth $300,000.
It's not fucking real.
Stop buying. Now is not the time to go buy a new car. Drive that shitbox until the wheels fall off or the market improves, because now's not the time to go buy a new car. You know what? You know what's really crazy? You want to talk about being brave? Go pay off your debt. Stop buying shit that you don't need and pay off your credit card debt. That's how you get into the position where you can do things. Do you understand that half of my advantage in this world right now, and I'm telling you, I'm doing fine. Am I rich? Not by any stretch of the imagination. But I have zero debt. So I can play 4 rounds of golf a week. I have zero debt. I can buy a new mixer. I can invest in my business because I have zero debt. I can have timeshares. I can buy a hot tub. I can buy an extra pair of golf shoes because I have zero debt. That's my advantage. If I was making $5,000 a month in credit card payments like I was at one point in my life, I could never do half the stuff. We would not be sitting here having this conversation because it's not profitable enough. Not right now anyway. But you got to be brave. I'm telling you. And I don't mean to keep saying the same thing over and over again. If you are not willing to do courageous, hard shit, you're never going to get ahead in this world. Excuse my French. If you're not willing to do courageous, hard stuff, you're never going to get ahead in this world.
Yeah.
You have to do it. You have to do it. I cannot tell you enough. And we argue about this stuff with like stats and Google, and it's all on Google. Do you want to open an Amazon store? I highly encourage you. It's probably the best $3,500 you're ever going to spend. Open an Amazon store. But you can't just open a store. You got to know what you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
Get on YouTube. Get on Google. Go talk to people who do it because millions of people are doing it. You hate your job? What are you going to do about it? You know what I'm saying? Chewy Gonzalez, the Big Mac has turned to a Mac. Ain't that the truth? Tiny ass patties like Jordan Hudson. Wow. But did you see her old flame, her old friend, the 63-year-old dude that she used to work with, is out like defending her wildly, saying that her character is being destroyed. Anyway, my point is, the Big Mac is not a Big Mac. Do you guys remember as kids? You probably don't. As a kid, getting a Big Mac every Saturday afternoon with my dad was like a reward. I don't want a Big Mac now. Now I want to go to Five Guys, but why don't I go to Five Guys very often, Jake?
It's expensive.
It's expensive. I'd rather go to Chipotle. Give me some $20 Chinese food. Shrimp fried rice? Absolutely.
Yeah.
I'd eat shrimp fried rice with double shrimp every single day over a Five Guys cheeseburger, right? This is exactly right. The Big Mac has turned into a Mac.
Yeah.
Chewy Gonzalez, Monty for president 2028. Nah, I'm good, fam. I'm not interested in that at all. I'm not interested in that at all. Gumby says, I love these Uncle Monty segments. I hope you guys don't feel like I'm preaching at you. I'm 52 years old, man. I've been through all of this. I've been in major credit card debt. I've bought and sold homes. I've been a real estate agent. I've flipped homes. I've worked with rich people. I've worked with poor people. I'm telling you, all the successful people I know had one common trait, and it's courage. They were brave. They were willing to do, because if we're honest, everything in this life that has ever been really good required failure.
Yeah.
How many times did Bezos fail? How many times did Titan of industry in this country fail? How many times did Elon fail? How many times did... But that failure is your best teacher. And when you try to... And for instance, in my world, my wife is terribly risk averse. With our money, she's never going to take a risk. She just won't. Like, we were this close. I don't know if we've ever told this story. We were super close to opening up a taco shop.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we were right there. And why didn't we do it? Supply chain. Had to wait 9 months to get air conditioning parts.
Yeah, the math didn't math.
We were I don't remember exact, but less than 24 hours away from signing $1.2 million SBA loan. That's how close we were. And we didn't do it. And we've tried things here and there, but it's hard to say to yourself, yeah, I'm going to open. Like, one of the things I really wanted to do, and I still would do it, not now and not anytime soon, I'd love to open up an acai bowl store.
Mm-hmm.
Like, my wife put all of her time into that. We researched it. We looked at suppliers. Where were we going to get the acai? We were going to use a very unique way of supplying acai. And then we went and looked at retail space, and it was outrageous. It was outrageous. The risk reward thing. Like, you watch these guys on, my wife and I watch these flipping shows. Tariq El Moussa, or they're risking $1 million to make like 100,000. I'm not willing to do that. Like, I can go out right now with the experience that me, Jake, and Mrs. Monty have. I can go out right now and get a loan to flip a house.
Mm-hmm.
Done. No problem. Probably 3 hours. I could have the money. I'm not doing that.
No.
Right. But the point is, be courageous and don't be scared to fail, because you're gonna fail. You just have to be smart with your money and fail in a way that's not going to cripple you. And if it does cripple you, you still got to be courageous, because guess what you got to do? You got to get right back up, man.
Yeah.
You got to get right back up. I'm telling you, you got to get right back up. Jeremiah Champion says, preach it. Johnny Gonzalez, haven't bought a house yet. Too late. It's over. Trying something else, but because home ownership just ain't in the race cards for me. Dude, it's so hard right now. I mean, Jake makes well over six figures. Can't even have the conversation.
No,
because between the interest rate and the inflated home cost,
I'm just not willing to.
You're crazy to put yourself in a position where your housing cost is more than.
I don't want my housing cost to be on my salary or my money. I don't want my housing cost to exceed $2,000 a month just on my portion.
Yeah.
Like my half of it. And, I think that, again, like, I think, yeah, big believer. You got to pay your credit card debt off. Why is it really hard to pay off credit card debt right now? Because everything is expensive. So everything costs more money. So you have less money to put toward your credit card
Look
debt.
what we're paying for travel right now.
Yeah,
look what we're paying for hotels and airfare.
I thought I got a good deal last night when I bought some airfare, and it was still really expensive.
Yeah.
So like I my main point is that we don't get to do what our parents did, bro.
No,
we don't get, and again, like, it used to really piss me off. It used to really upset me that I'm not going to have those same opportunities. But the reality is those opportunities can still come about, but you have to be willing to do some things that maybe are not ideal, are not as convenient.
Yeah. Big Daddy Magic says, be courageous and buy me a long sleeve red 3X Buffalo Bills jersey. That would take a lot of courage. Guys. What if we all just write Monty's name in for 2028? Dude, if you want to fix the housing crisis, write my name in. But that's the only thing I'm really interested in.
I'm not a huge TikToker, but I think it's kind of pertinent to this conversation. There's several guys on TikTok who own secondary market car dealerships, and they put up videos of people trying to do crazy car deals and stuff. Like, people make car deals way harder than they need to be, right? Like, if you are upside down on your car, you should never trade your car in.
No.
You need to pay that loan off, then get out of that and get into a better financial situation.
Pay your negative equity off at least.
Right? Like, but if you have 10 grand in equity in your car, I would agree. There's a lot of financial sense to just keeping it and, whatever.
If you got 10 grand in equity in your car, you can pretty much write your own ticket in a car dealership.
So if you got 10 grand in equity in your car and let's say you're willing to put down 5 grand, you really got $15,000 to chop off that sticker price and again, I'm with you. I would never buy a new car. Huge believer in the equity you can get in the used car market right now.
Yep.
If you know what you're doing, there's absolutely opportunities. But my point is just people are being silly with some of their decisions. Like, I would never go out and buy a new car right now. I wouldn't buy new, but I would buy CPO or used.
Especially in the last 6 to 8 months, the car market's got noticeably worse.
Yeah.
Yes. Gumby says, I'm a man, I'm 40. You ain't preaching. You're just talking life. That's all this is. That's all it is.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I agree with the sentiment. Like, at some point, we're going to have me individually or us or whatever. Like, we're going to have to get a business that generates revenue at a really solid rate, because I'm telling you the days of, and again, I have no problem with jobs that are salaried or salary commission, whatever the structure is, right? I have no problem with the 9 to 5. In fact, I'm a huge believer the 9 to 5 is your foundation to do the other things you want to do, right? And it allows you to take risk in some other areas. So I'm down with that. I've paid my own health insurance and I'm not trying to do it again, right? I'm not trying to be without health insurance again and have to pay it privately. It's literally one of the worst experiences ever. So right now, I'm going to keep my 9 to 5 and I'm going to work my ass off in that 9 to 5 as hard as it is sometimes. And I'm going to grind through those things that feed me right now. But I just think if you're a millennial or you're a Gen Zer, like if you're a Gen Zer, if I was 20 right now or 24 or whatever, I would be heavily investing time and energy into learning how to make money digitally. That's what I would try to do.
If I could advise you to do anything, I'm telling you, my best advice to you is one, if you figure out what you're passionate about. I'm passionate about golf, right?
Yeah.
I want to make golf content. But I'm going to figure out, we need to get past this tariff thing. I'm going to figure out an Amazon store because there's just too many guys making too much money.
Mm-hmm.
And the Amazon annual meeting, the numbers that came out of that on what's called FBA, fulfilled by Amazon, they're staggering. They're staggering.
In a good way or bad way?
In a really good way. In a really good way. And you know who's really benefiting? Not that you guys care about this. You know who's really benefiting from the Chinese-United States tariff war? India.
Mm-hmm.
The product that now India is churning, and they started churning it not in January, last July. You know what spurred the engines in India? Joe Biden dropping out of the race, because there's a lot of people in India who believed as soon as he dropped out of the race, Donald Trump was going to win. And what was immediately Donald Trump going to do? Well, what he did, he put tariffs in place. So India had the foresight to churn manufacturing.
Yeah.
I'm fascinated with it. I am absolutely fascinated with global economies and global economics. What India has done in the last 8 months is fascinating to me. But that's where I would point you at. Learn what fulfilled by Amazon is and learn how to open an Amazon store and source products, because it will absolutely change your life, without a doubt. Gabriel, well, yeah, not going to lie, Monty, you do educate young adults like myself. You talk about things no one wants to talk about. I'm a huge believer in that. I think we have to have the conversations here that are hard. that people don't want to talk about. And I'm not an expert. I'm not telling you to do everything I'm telling you to do. I've just experienced things. My wife and I have worked really hard to build an existence that we love. And that's not always been easy. It's not easy now. I'm telling you that. Jay says, Monty needs to have a channel called Straight Real Life Facts. I like these segments. We try to do them more, but frankly, it once in a while is about enough. If at first you don't succeed, find out why. Well, you better find out why, but you better get back up on your feet. There's nothing in this world, and I don't care if you are. I saw a really compelling TikTok story about a Down syndrome individual who had no education. His parents essentially said, "You're not worth our time. Go hang out in your room." And the one thing they did for this kid was give him a computer and internet access. And the money that this kid is making in day trading and Amazon is, and you know what he sells on Amazon? Which is crazy to me. He's made so much money on magnetic mounts for phones and cars.
Yeah.
He found somewhere, and I don't believe he had a source on there, but he found a source where he bought 5,000 of these car mounts for phones. Put a little logo that he made on Canva, a website called Canva. He made a little logo on Canva. Put it on these phone mounts. And then spent every dollar he had to his own name. So much so that he claims he was completely broke. Right up until those phone mounts hit on Amazon. And he sold over 500,000 of them. He's autistic. He felt abandoned. And he still made a way. That's what's amazing. We make so many excuses, and then you look at a guy like that, and you're like, well, damn.
Yeah.
And now he doesn't live isolated. He actually lives on his own. He makes enough money on Amazon, and I don't know what his current product offerings are. He makes enough money on Amazon that he has live-in help. So he has his own house. And he has two people that live with him that clean for him and cook for him. It's an amazing story.
It's great, dude.
I love your life advice. Thank you. Wasikowski, freight brokerage is a cash cow. Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. Gabriel, that's why I sub to the channel besides the Thursday, Friday shenanigans, right?
Seriously.
Jeff Woodworth, Poke Bowl store. Dude.
Yeah. We could go on all night about concepts.
Ideas. Oh, my God. Gabriel, flipping houses or any business in this economy is tough. Right now, it is. Anything that is real estate and real property is very difficult right now. Really difficult. Like button, you friggin' casuals. Yes, please. I haven't said it one time today. I apologize. Please hit the like button. Really helps your channel grow. Jay McClanahan, my favorite saying, it's hard to beat someone who never gives up. Yes, it is. I think personally the best thing to do since I'm a college student is to build my credit. Absolutely. Get a summer job and be smart financially. Easier said than done. Try to save your money, man. Try to save your money. And while you're in college, find a side hustle. There are so many kids there's this kid at BYU. And I think he's been outed as a BYU student at this point. All he does is go around campus at BYU and ask awkward questions to BYU students. One of the biggest one that made him a star was, have you ever earthquaked? Which, if you don't know what that is, hey. And it got tens of millions of views on TikTok. And so he's a full-time student, and he's asking these questions and making these videos and crushing it. But Monty... the avocado toast is destroying millennials. That you're not wrong.
Mm.
I've been a rich man, I've been a poor man, and I'd choose rich every fucking time.
It's facts. Dude.
I've been a rich man and I have been a poor man, and I choose rich every fucking time.
All right, we got to go. You guys, amazing. I appreciate it. Everybody that's commented today, thank you as always. The Monty Show presented by The Advocates at theadvocates.com. The best injury attorneys in the business, 24/7, 365. You can get clear, risk-free advice, and it won't cost you a dime at theadvocates.com. Until Monday, say goodbye, Jake.
Goodbye, Jake.